all of you to the inaugural edition of the Most Trusted Brands of India. My name is Kavya R. Chavali, and I must admit, it's indeed a great pleasure to address all of you in person, because before 2020, we never really bifurcated events as physical events and virtual events, and yet here we are. I do believe that it's been a crazy roller coaster of a year, but today promises to be a star-studded, memorable affair packed with meaning and resonance. So it's time to dive in. Now, I do also believe that pandemic allowed us all to pick up new skills, new hobbies. Some of us became home bakers. Some of us picked up new professions. I thought, why not I stay true to my name, Kavya, and actually write poems as well. Which is why for today, this evening, I decided I'm going to dedicate a short poem to honor all of you. And here it goes. The world came to a halt exactly a year ago. Uncertainty loomed and masked our minds. What, why, how, we didn't know. Scrolling through our timelines, we became our own kind of content creators. Newer professions and skills we picked: fashion, dalgona, and home bakers. We invited guests to our homes virtually. We let them zoom into our home studios quite visibly. My shows became virtual webinars, and I started e-meeting the speakers globally. My tech check moved from mic and podium to bandwidth and "can you hear me?" But year 2020 had in store a vision that beat the learnings of Y2K and recession. We, the screenagers, posted and prayed for me time, and guess what? You and I got blessed with we time. We adapted, we adopted, we paused, we pivoted, but the most we responded to were people and brands that we trusted, because the new normal made us seek transparency. Resilient leadership gave way for reliability. And today we come back together exactly after a year as we march forward to celebrate the value created for each other. So it's time to rejoice, recognize, and celebrate. And with that, it's time for me to pause. Let's begin the program with a bang, and let's begin it with your applause. Ladies and gentlemen, can we have a huge round of applause for all of you who gathered here, bringing in your energy, bringing in your enthusiasm to join us all as we celebrate the inaugural edition of the Most Trusted Brands of India. Now, I do believe that the word trust is not just a word, but an emotion. And I also believe that an event of this scale wouldn't have been possible in challenging times without the right kind of collaboration and teamwork. So to set the tone for the evening, I'd now like to invite Mr. Rajesh Khoopchandani of Team Marksmen to set the tone for what lies ahead for this program. A huge round of applause, everyone, and please help me welcome on stage Rajesh Khoopchandani. Woo!
The new normal. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to welcome you all, my colleagues, my friends, our veterans from the industry, my colleagues who are joining us virtually, and few ex-colleagues also who are joining us virtually today. So it's wonderful to see you all. It's been a year, a crazy year that I would say. It's been a roller coaster ride for all of us. But it's finally good to see all of us in person. As we open up to a brave new world and a new world over, one thing is clear. Much has changed: the way we live, the way we interact with our friends, our loved ones, our people who we used to trust very easily, actually, just shaking hands and even exchanging hugs and everything. A lot has changed from everything: the way we interacted, the way we deal things, the way we pick brands, or we change our experiences with people. Needless to say, this year packed in enough change for a decade for us, and some of us were better prepared for than in others. The shifts we have seen, has the important implication of businesses across industries. And trust is a critical ingredient going into making of our favorite brands. But trust is not easy to gain. It's hard to quantify, but holds so much value. Occupying minds and hearts, some brands end up becoming more beloved and more trusted than others. This new reality has given companies an opportunity to reshape. The brands we see today embody that and are backed by a consumer invaluable faith. I congratulate all of you on your individual brand journeys today and successes, and wish you all a marvelous evening filled with insights and revelry. Kudos to all of you. Thank you for joining us once again, and let the revelries begin. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rajesh, for setting the tone. In fact, a week ago when I got a call from Rajesh saying that, we have this amazing concept and we are hosting the show. And it took me a while to understand, wait, are you serious? Are you saying like a physical show? Because it just suddenly made me so happy. But that's when I realized that the word trust comes not just from businesses first, but from people. It's the trust that we have in each other. As teams, and then of course as it encompasses to all the businesses, and I think that was beautifully shared there by you, Rajesh, so thank you so much. On that note, let's also march ahead because it's also time to invite our guest of honor. We have with us Mr. Sudhakar Radappa, who is the founder and CEO of Commerzify, as he delves into the fundamentals of brand building and how consumer journeys have changed in these tumultuous times. So ladies and gentlemen, with a huge round of applause, please help me welcome on stage Mr. Sudhakar Radappa.
Good evening and good to see all of you, physically for a change. I was reluctant even till as late as yesterday evening saying that, are you sure we are going to do a physical event? People were telling lots of things about, cases rising up in Mumbai. So I was kind of very skeptical and delightfully here to see all of you in the middle of all this uncertainty and gloom. I think this is something positive and good to see. Welcome to India's most trusted brands. There are a lot of things that changed during the pandemic, and one thing that hasn't changed is the value of trust. Trust has been one of the most important social currencies, which I still believe is one of the most important things as we see today. Building a brand in the most difficult times is a challenging thing. One irate customer is all you can do to damage the brand that has been built over the years. All you need is a WhatsApp and a Twitter handle, and then you can really tarnish the image of a brand. So when you are a brand which has millions and millions of touch points, and so how do you build a brand is a challenging task, with plethora of media options, lots of media that is happening there. So I think brand building has become a really, really costly affair, and it has become even more challenging these days, right? So I'm sure all the brands that are being featured today, and I'm sure there are others which are not being featured, but I think some of them are great brands as well. But I think I really have a word of appreciation for all the brands which are being featured in this, for the journey that you've undertaken. As an entrepreneur, I know the value of a brand, and I know the value of building trust. So it's not just India's most popular brands, it is India's most trusted brands. I think that is a very clear differentiator what the ceremony has done today. So I welcome you for this. I think there are lots of brands that are going to get featured in the book, and it's great to see all of you here. And I'm sure there is a long way to go, and I'm sure you will see some great and promising things happening from the brands that you see in the book. So thank you very much, and welcome for the show. Oh, well, did I finish it quickly? I think I don't want to bore a lot of you. So.
Well, thank you very much indeed, Mr. Radappa, because I think you rightly said no amount of PR or bots can buy the trust. It's a two-way street, and it's something that that's a lot of hard work, that goes into earning that kind of trust. So thank you so much for sharing your words of wisdom with us this evening. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, I am also extremely pleased to tell you that the next brand joining us this evening is a household name that's loved by so many people and generations of Indians. In fact, it has permeated many facets of our society. So it gives me immense pleasure to welcome on stage Marksmen, who's the Managing Director and CEO with Eureka Forbes, to deliver the keynote address on how to increase trust and raise awareness. Huge, huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Let's keep it roaring. Please help me welcome on stage Marksmen.
Good evening, everybody. Can you hear me? Good evening, everybody. It's my pleasure to be here. How many of you have in the past owned an AquaGuard? Nice to see that. Nice to see that. It's my pleasure to talk to you. And when they asked me to talk about trust and about brands, I said to myself, what am I going to tell a team of people over here who are all brand builders? So I said, definitely 3 rules. 1, no gyan. 2, nothing that is available on the internet. And 3rd, nothing that will, tell you something that you don't already know. So here it is. I'm going to share, can I have the slides? I'm going to share our experience of the last 39 years. AquaGuard's been around for almost 4 decades. And I thought I'd share some insights and, put some leave-behinds for you about 5 different points of what I think constitutes trusted brands. So let me start by a quote by the guru of, by the guru of the business world. Steve Jobs said, a brand is simply trust. And if you really look at it, people will listen to you if they like you, but they will do business with you only if they trust you. And I just thought it's important for us to talk about this a little bit. Given the fact that as brand AquaGuard, we enter a kitchen every second. Every second, we are trusted by 2.5 million customers every year to enter a kitchen. We do 40,000 kitchen visits every day. And it's not unusual for a service technician to come to a house. Somebody says, "Chabi le lo, hum bahar ja rahe, service karke jara neighbor ko de dena." That's the kind of trust our service technicians have developed over the years. So that's one. Second is we are trusted by most of India. We protect the lives of 1 in 5 urban Indians. And we've been doing so eventually for many, many, many years. We are welcome to 100 new homes every day. 100 new people welcome us. So while 40,000 people are being serviced by us, 100 new customers are entering our fold every day. Just gives you the sales to service ratio in terms of our existing relationships and the trust that we have with the customers that are with us. Of course, we are also trusted as our consumers' first choice. So if I look at purchase intent, we have a brand track, which we do with an agency called Kantar every quarter. And they track the brand. One of the key metrics is purchase intent. So out of all the list of water purifiers, which is the one brand that you would buy? Our score of PI is 64%. Our nearest competitor, the most visible one that some of you have heard of on television, is 16%. So we are 4 times more trusted than our nearest competitor. And trust is 15% of the score of why people buy a water purifier. So it used to be 14 last year. It was about 11, if I'm not mistaken, the year before. So the trust score, the reason for people to buy a water purifier, the number one reason is trust. And that score has been moving up as we've gone along. So enough about why we are trusted. Now that I've established that, let me leave behind 5 key messages for you, just 5 points. The first one is, do what you say and say what you do. And it is so important not to make false promises. So basic, so simple, and yet many brands falter along the way. Do what you say and say what you do. And there were trying times. Believe you, in the pandemic, we had a situation where we have 8,300 feet on street, who go door to door and service customers all across the country. 8,300 people. During the pandemic, we had 2,300 or 2,350 at one point of time. We could not reach every home. We could not service our customers, and customers are screaming and shouting and calling and saying, guys, I don't have water in my house, what do I do? And we were struggling, and we were struggling, and we were struggling. But at that time, we thought of a simple solution. We said, can we look at digital service? So we tied up with Swiggy. We started sending accessories to customer homes, and started calling on WhatsApp video to our customers, trying to help them out and see if you can service your own purifier. It was difficult, it was challenging, and it took, in some customer cases, over an hour and a half to do that. But the fact was that we tried. We sent messages to every customer saying, we are sorry, we cannot service you, we are going through really difficult times. I wrote to the ministry trying to see if I can get, emergency service allocation just to service customers. We were refused. And it was really, really difficult. And we tried and we tried. We have 430 seats in different call centers across the country. 430 inbound seats for customer calls. And none of them were working at one point of time because no contact center was open. We worked, we pushed, and we said, let's move every seat to homes. We have a call center in India. It's in Bombay. It's the first one, probably the only one of its kind in the world, which is manned by the physically challenged. We call them the differently abled. And we have 113 people in that call center. Every single one of them has a disability. How are we getting these people to take calls from customers? Even today, 1 year after the pandemic, we still take calls from homes. All of these guys take their calls sitting at home and answering customer complaints. So, very difficult times. But the fact is, when you are honest and when you try, customers forgive you. You know what they benefited us with? They gave us a 4% increase in market share in the last 1 year. 4%. It's unheard of in the category. It's unheard of in the industry. And we managed to build the trust of our customers by trying and by reaching out and by being honest. We got complaints. Every single complaint that lands on my table in my mailbox is answered by my office, the lady sitting right here, in less than 2 hours. Every single one. Every single one. Right? It's this the way you try and you build trust. You can't buy it, you can earn it. You mentioned that. Right? Let's take the next lesson. It's not just about you being a one person servicing the customer. While the customer sees only the technician, there's a whole company behind it. There's a whole culture you got to build. You cannot build a service culture by only the service department. Every single person in the organization has to be and believe in customer service. How do we do this? We build heroes. I'm showing you a picture of this guy. He's a gentleman in Kerala. One day we got a call. Actually, it landed up as an email on in my table from a customer in Oman saying, my parents are alone and there is nobody, they don't have drinking water at home. Can you please help? So we said, how are we going to help? These guys were in a village somewhere, about 40 kilometers from our nearest office. Typically, in a normal situation, the guy would get on his bike and he would ride there and service that customer. Saji couldn't do that. He called up the customer's home and he guided them through the process. Old people, he guided them through the process and got them to service their purifier, got them to stop that leakage which was caused. As a result of which they got water. And he was talking to them, and in the course of that long conversation, he realized they don't have food to eat. They don't have food to eat. They couldn't get water, they didn't have food. So he called up an NGO. He called up an NGO, and they delivered food to his house in 2 hours. Now, this guy is what we call a superhero, a Euro hero. And in our company, we celebrate people like that. And when you celebrate people who go out of their way, they start believing that service is good, and they start delivering on the same service. And this is just one. I can give you examples of people who have slept nights in hospitals, making sure that the purifier is working inside a COVID hospital. I mean, it's unbelievable, the kind of people that we have. We're really lucky to have these people. The next thing when you drive a culture is measure, measure, and measure. And if you don't measure, you'll never know. So we use all kinds of metrics. We measure every interaction with the customer. And we get our NPS scores based on consumer interactions. Every single interaction is measured. We send a response to the customer. And we probably have among the best NPS rates or customer satisfaction rates in the industry. And when we do this, it gives us a lot of pleasure that customers are happier. We track the scores. Every single score is tracked week on week, month on month. If a customer is unhappy, we call that customer, find out what the problem is, find out who that technician was, what was the reason, resolve it, and get back to that customer. And this is a cultural issue. It cannot happen unless you genuinely believe in it. The other thing about, coming back one more slide, on culture, you cannot get customer satisfaction without employee satisfaction. You have to build happy employees. And happy employees build happy customers. And we make sure that we even track and measure our employee satisfaction. We have scores of close to 4.6, 4.8 on 5 when it comes to trust of the management. And we do this on a continuous basis. So trust is something that's absolutely critical. The third point is from me to we. Be purpose-driven. Be an organization that actually genuinely embodies the purpose. Eureka Forbes only because we've been giving you water that you drink, protecting you from the water you drink, from the air you breathe, keeping your homes clean, because we're a health and hygiene company. Over the last 40 years, we've had so many different opportunities. We missed the entertainment boom. We could easily use our direct sales team to sell color TVs. It was a big boom. We could easily use our direct sales team to sell mobile phones. We could easily use our direct sales team to sell so many different products. But we said, no, we will stay with the health and hygiene business. And for 40 years, we have stayed true to that purpose of making a positive difference in the lives of our customers. We've never moved outside our core. 1 year ago, we launched an air conditioner, all right? And when we launched an air conditioner, we didn't launch an air conditioner. We launched a health conditioner. And you know what that health conditioner does? It removes all bacteria and virus in the room in 4 hours. So while it's cooling the room, it also purifies the air inside that room. We've launched it 1 year ago. It's in pilot stage in 2 markets, and it's doing really well. In the state of Kerala, we've got a 7% share. 7% share in 1 year in the health conditioner category. And not just that, we managed to get 60% of our customers that bought in the first 1 month. I wanted to check, how many customers actually bought. Our existing customers, out of 100 people that bought our health conditioner, 60 of them were existing customers of ours. Now that's customer loyalty, and that's how trust is rewarded. The next point in this is also, there are so many different technologies today, and consumers get confused. Should I buy an RO? Should I buy a UV? What should I buy? Typically, people in Mumbai sitting here should not be drinking water from an RO purifier. Should not be drinking water. You know why? Because it wastes water. People think that it's the latest technology because some guy is telling them on television, upgrade to an RO. The fact is that you do not need an RO because for every 1 glass of water you drink, you're throwing out 5 or 6. As a company, we have given the option to save water. We've got a technology where if the water TDS is below a particular amount, it goes into a different purification technology. We also tell our customers, we map 11,500 pin codes in India, 11,500. We know exactly what water is in which pin code, in which building. And we recommend to the customer exactly what to buy. So when you talk about trust, you make investments in trust. You make investments in making sure that everything that you do, the 115 odd certificates that we have for brand AquaGuard, across India and across the world are all because we want to believe that we must make sure that every single product that we make delivers absolutely either 100% safe water or no water at all. The last point is to pay the penalty of leadership. Sorry, the penultimate point, the 4th point, is to pay the penalty of leadership. And again, this is about investment. Invest in your R&D. Invest in making sure that you deliver the right kind of products. During the pandemic, we realized that people need immunity. So we launched a product with the goodness of 7 Ayurvedic herbs. The water tastes beautiful. The goodness of 7 Ayurvedic herbs inside your AquaGuard, right? This is amazing. Even then, if you look at, an RO, I just talked about an RO wasting, stripping away the minerals from your water. For 10 years, we've been adding minerals back into the water. We had calcium, we had magnesium, we had copper, and we had zinc inside your water purifier in an RO product. All of these you don't even know about. We don't believe that we should, tom and tell the customer this, but we believe that we should be trusted and be honest to ourselves. And by doing so, we make sure that we add exactly the right proportion of minerals back into the water to give the customer exactly what they need. This water is as good as putting water in a vessel overnight, and you can still drink the copper because the AquaGuard now has copper infused into the water at an ionic level. We're working on a new thing where we'll digitally be able to service your product, thanks to the pandemic, to be able to digitally service your products from outside without even opening it. This is a new thing that we're working on. More about this when we launch it. And the last, of course, is transparency breeds trust. As I mentioned in the beginning, we've had really difficult times during the pandemic. We have 2.5 million customers, and you are bound to get unhappy people. You're bound to get people who are not satisfied. And the only thing you can do at that time, the only thing you can do is to say, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I did my best, I could not service you. Please do not ever make the mistake of putting the onus back on the customer. When you're sorry, you're sorry. We've replaced machines, we've fought with our people, we've sacked people who've done the wrong things. But when we are sorry, we are sorry. Be honest and tell the customer we are sorry when we screw up. And this is our philosophy. We've done it for 39 years, and we've really managed to live this thing. And you mentioned this, in your opening speech. You said that, with social media and everything, a brand is no longer what we tell the consumer it is. It is what one consumer tells another consumer. And this is so real for us. And what gives us absolute pleasure is because, I talked about measurement. We measure customer behavior. 90%, 9 out of 10 of all customers who upgrade from one purifier to another, 9 out of 10 buy an AquaGuard. So if there are 100 people who have previously bought a water purifier, 9 out of 10 buy an AquaGuard. And this constitutes 35% of the market today. So imagine as the water market starts getting more and more mature, more and more people will be happy to buy a trusted brand. And this is really what it's all about. 64% of our, word of mouth accounts for 64% of our source of awareness. One customer telling another. And we have some amazing reference generation schemes for our customers as well, where they can recommend the customer and get up to 1 year's free service. So we continue to reward our loyal customers as we go along. And trust, believe you me, is rewarding. We've been lucky to have this. We're lucky to have the trust of our customers. We've worked really hard at it. And it builds relationships, it builds business. And I want to say thank you very much for listening. And happy to answer any questions at the end of the session, but thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Shroff, for those illuminating thoughts. And I'm reminded of the quote by Russian revolutionary Vladimir Lenin, who quoted that there are decades where nothing happens, and then there are weeks where decades happen. And I believe last year allowed us to, sort of face those challenges as brands or businesses and allow us to come together as one unit and work towards bettering that customer relations for that matter. And I believe that somewhere Mr. Shroff beautifully shared the words on honesty, or how, being honest with the customer is all that matters. Thank you once again, sir, for sharing your valuable words with us. With that, before we march ahead once again, I'd like to take the opportunity to also thank our partners for their fantastic support, our presenting partner, Commerzify, our media partner, CNBC TV 18. In fact, this program is being live streamed on cnbctv18.com. Our research partner, Illigent, and our publicity partner is Roar, and the program is brought to you by Team Marksmen. As we move forward, it's also time to bring on board our next speaker who will ensure that we connect more on a deeper level and a more mystical level, rather, because she's someone who's helped lead millions of people on a profound journey into consciousness and helping them find the meaning of joy, purpose, and relationships. She will be with us to share her address on conscious wealth creation for corporate well-being. Because, ladies and gentlemen, we have with us Preeta Ji, who is the founder, philanthropist, and transformation leader with ACOM. I've been informed that she couldn't make it over here for the program, but we do have a video message. So let's have the video on the screen for everybody.
Sri Preeta Ji and Sri Krishna Ji are spiritual leaders, mystics, and philosophers of our time. They have co-created ACOM, a mystic powerhouse located in the state of Andhra Pradesh, India. Sri Preeta Ji and Sri Krishna Ji have over 2,000 trained volunteers who lead their events all over the world. Millions of seekers are drawn to them in quest of greater purpose, peace, and awakening. World-renowned leaders come to ACOM to learn from them and to meditate in their presence. At a tender age of 11, Sri Krishna Ji had his first experience of enlightenment and God realization. Ever since then, when people meditate with him, they experience a healing of long-held wounds, their anxiety dissolves, and they move into higher states of consciousness. Sri Preeta Ji's presence spontaneously opens the hearts of seekers to love and compassion beyond measure. To listen and to learn from her is a blessing of several lifetimes. Together with their daughter Loka, Krishna Ji and Preeta Ji run two massive charities: World Youth Changemakers, a foundation that offers free transformational education in schools and colleges in India and across the world, and One Humanity Care, a foundation which supports and improves the lives of the people in 1,000 villages around ACOM.
Namaste. The next 15 minutes is dedicated to corporate well-being. And since the vast majority of you in the room are from the corporate world, this is for your well-being. Let me ask you some very important questions. I would say do not take these questions lightly. My first question, do you sleep well? And in the morning when you wake up, do you wake up more refreshed than when you went to sleep? Second question, can you actually pay attention when your partner speaks, when your child speaks, or when your colleague speaks, without a continuous running commentary in your head that is distracting you? Are you paying attention right now? Total attention? Third question, can you flow easily with change in life? Fourth question, Does the food you eat digest well? And now the final question. Do you smile naturally when you listen, say, to a song of a bird, or when you spot a beautiful butterfly? If the answer is a no for any one of these questions, then I would say you are headed towards trouble. And let me tell you, all these questions are equally important. These are not unconnected questions. They're all connected questions, each as relevant as the other. All these questions are connected to your intelligence. And I believe with the COVID situation raging all around you and the enormous uncertainty that surrounds our current times, your intelligence will be your greatest ally to create growth and to protect what you have created. So where is intelligence? A common answer would be intelligence is in the brain, but not really. Intelligence is sourced and attuned to 3 different organs of your body. You actually have 3 distinctive types of intelligence. One is the cranial intelligence, which happens through your head. The second is the heart intelligence, which is actually located in your physical heart. And the third is your gut intelligence. And an important factor to consider is that just as there are neurons and nerve cells in the brain, there are nerve cells in the heart, there are nerve cells in the gut also. Let's not talk of brain intelligence and heart intelligence today. Today, I would like to only talk about your gut intelligence. Gut intelligence. Yes. If your gut intelligence is active, you will be able to sense trends, downward trend or an upward trend, progressive trends, degenerative trends, before they actually become visible outside. That is why it is called a gut feeling. You will actually be able to sense them. And you will be able to handle challenges in life with much greater equanimity and not anxiety. How does this gut intelligence happen? It has 3 sources. The first source is the neurons in your gut. Your gut has 500 million neurons lining it. It is like a lattice network. These neurons actually sense and communicate to the neurons in the brain through the vagus nerve. The second source of your gut intelligence is bizarre actually. It is the trillions of microorganisms that line your gut. In fact, there are 6 layers of microorganisms that line your gut. These microorganisms are beneficial to you unless you have polluted your body. When these tiny creatures are healthy, your gut brain is healthy. And you have this amazing ability to sense the environment. They add to what you may call intuition or gut feeling, which then gets communicated through the vagus nerve into your cranial brain. The third source of sensing is the divine, which Sri Krishna ji, my husband, and I call it the universal intelligence or the field around you. The divine can be experienced as a being, could be experienced as a presence or as a field of consciousness. This field of intelligence exists everywhere and is accessible at all times. When you experience the divine as the universal field of intelligence, it is pure information. It is a field of potentiality. It is a field of possibilities. When the neurons in your gut are not damaged, when your beneficial gut flora is thriving, then they tune into the universal intelligence. You sense the currents of life, and you're also at a greater peace with life. You're not trying to control life. You're not anxious about manipulating every situation your way. Among the numerous factors that destroy gut intelligence, the most prominent among all these factors is a stressful state of mind. If you live prolonged periods of time in stressful states, you will destroy your ability to intuition because you are damaging the sensors in your gut. These stressful states of mind cause a flooding of cortisol and adrenaline that destroys your gut flora and disconnects the neurons in your gut from communicating to the neurons in your brain. Your stressful states also disconnect you from the greater intelligence of the universe. You feel weak and lonely in your battles. Now, have you got habituated to living in these toxic emotions? I know time is short and we do not have time for a discussion. So let me lead you into a small meditation. This is exactly for 3 minutes. And this practice is called the serene mind practice. This can save your gut intelligence. It can actually dissolve stress and bring you to the present moment. It can bring you to a space of clarity. And all it takes is 3 minutes. Let's do it. It is based on modern neuroscience as well as a mystic understanding of consciousness. So please be seated comfortably with your spine erect. Close your eyes. Take 3 deep, attentive breaths. Let us go to the next step. Continue to keep your eyes closed. How did you feel this entire evening? What has been your inner state? Please observe. Have you been feeling pleasant or unpleasant inwardly? What exactly has been the emotion you have been experiencing? Please name your emotion. Recognize it. Has it been anxiety, comparison? Therefore, a feeling of jealousy or irritation? Or has it been a feeling of excitement, calm, or joy? now to the next stage of meditation. When you were in that state, where was your thought moving? Was it moving into the past or into the future? Finally, now bring your attention to the region in the middle of your eyebrows. And imagine or feel as if there is a flame in the middle of your eyebrows. And feel the flame move to the center, as if there is a flame glowing in the middle of your brain. Stay in that visualization. Thank you. Smile and please open your eyes. If you are keen on activating your gut intelligence, and if you're keen on not falling into the habit of stressful emotions, you can do the same practice every day, every time you feel stressed. Let me leave you with a question. Is enduring well-being possible so long as you have a mind that seeks to control every situation and outcome? Is peace possible so long as there is a nameless inner restlessness, emptiness, and loneliness? I encourage you to take a deeper dive. A dive into the possibility of living, loving, and achieving with a different consciousness, an awakened consciousness. Thank you. I wish you have a beautiful present and a beautiful future. Let there be great well-being for all. Namaste.
I must admit that Preetaji's aura transcends across the screens. I could see from the backstage that so many of you, in fact, for those few minutes, felt totally centered and so aligned. And I think that's important. You know why? Because up next is something what we call as a fireside chat. So I think it was very aptly placed, if I may put it that way. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, why we're calling it a fireside chat. And while I do that, I'm going to request the team to also prepare the stage for the fireside chat. The reason is because the topic is also absolutely feisty when we're talking about how to grow your brands in the time of crisis. And I think it's not just a feisty topic, it's also the need of the hour. So while we do that, we have two stalwart speakers who will be joining us this evening to share their nuggets of insights in terms of growing your brand in the time of crisis. Now, our first speaker, in fact, is a renowned actor, is a food enthusiast as well, and also the director of Zurabia Foods. In fact, ladies and gentlemen, she's the first lady of poultry, and we have with us none other than Perizad Zurabia. So can we firstly have like a smiling round of applause for the ever-smiling Perizad? And let's make that louder. I know we're all centered, we're all aligned, but let's bring the energy back. Thank you so much, Perizad, for joining us. And, joining her, we also have a legendary name in the world of ads. And he is affectionately referred to as Pops. And while I say Pops, I can see that while some of you are wearing masks, you're also smiling behind your masks. Because that's the kind of affection that we have. That's the kind of impact he's created in our lives. We have with us Mr. K.V. Sridhar, who's the Global Chief Creative Officer of Nihilent Limited. So can we also have a round of applause for Mr. K.V. Sridhar? And while I'm introducing them, once again, if I can request the team to set the stage, because it's time for the fireside chat, and the fire is just getting warmer and hotter. So we need to get the stage rolling. So I'm going to request the team to please do the needful. Team Sahara, if I can request you to please place both the chairs along with the coffee table on the stage, please. Thank you. All right, so while they do the needful, let me also inform you that, yes, it's time to indulge in some more insights. And then, of course, we'll also have a very interesting panel discussion lined up for all of you before we begin with the final round of felicitations. So I hope all of you are equally excited about it. If so, this is what we're going to do. When I say one, I want all of you to come together and clap once. It's as simple as that, right? I'm going to say one. Everybody come together and clap just once, right? So let's see how much energy is there in the air. I mean, it's Friday, right? Friday. One. Okay, so you know what? We'll do it together. Together. One. One, one. One, one, one. One, 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 one. One, one, one. One, one. 1, 2. You know what? This is still good news. It means I still have everybody's attention if you all manage to clap it too. But on that note, looks like our hands are warmed up. So can we have another huge round of applause as I invite on stage Perizad Zurabia and Mr. K.V. Sridhar.
Hello.
Good evening, Pops. And I think good evening, everybody. It's so awesome to be here. And looking forward to chatting with the legend himself.
Yeah, we have seen each other a year and a half back before COVID. Now life is measured before COVID and after COVID. Right?
Life's totally different, yes. We're all with our masks, all fearful.
I can't hide the camera, so I still have my mask. Good evening, everyone. I think, as we said, life is before COVID and after COVID. Things have changed, and then we are still getting used to not the new norm, but the new way of living. And a lot of things have changed in this 1 year, apart from business, commerce, science, whatnot. But the most important thing which has changed is human behavior. And then it takes, we all know that it takes years and years to alter the behavior of any living being, leave alone humans. But 1 year, not even 1 year, less than a year, has altered the behavior of human race completely. And then we have understood in our country that the life what is the meaning of life, what is that which we need to live. So it made us introspect, and then it made us to make a choice between the wants and then the needs. And what is that which we need? This much food, what an aircraft gives. And then what is that which we ate? Maggi, simple dal chawal. And then we had absolutely no maids, no servants, no drivers, no cars, no office, no going out, no shopping. I mean, tons of money was piling up in the banks, right? So finally, what do we need? And it's the human greed, makes us run around and then want so many things. So it actually taught us a lesson of separating these wants and needs. That's one of the biggest changes which have happened in our society. And the newer generation, is going to be a different one, because they have already seen it. A lot of children who were born during COVID are going to grow up, and they cannot recognize people without wearing a mask. Okay. So it is very difficult. Even the filmmakers are struggling whether to show actors with the mask or without the mask. If you are shooting outdoor, you know that people on the streets are wearing masks. Do they also wear a mask or not wear a mask? So a lot of things which have changed completely. And apart from all that, the commerce has taken a beating. The economy has gone down, and the entire system has collapsed. There are some heroes. I am referring to heroes like marketers, who have really stood up to what they believed in, and while the bigger companies were struggling to do that, the smaller companies like Zorabian Chicken thrived, and then we have seen how Eureka Forbes have actually gained market share of 4% by actually doing some good. And doing good is a good business, and then we don't realize that. So at times, we need to be selfless to be selfish. Okay. The more selfless you are, and then more you get it back in return. And one of the things, I must tell you is a great lesson to learn from Parizat and then her family, the way they endured this 40-year-old brand, and the way she turned that around. And it is the people who force her to go on to traditional retailing, to e-commerce, and also to change a lot of things. And then she made such a swift change and then impact. So how did that, in the time of crisis, I believe that men panic, but women stand up and then take the calls. Is it true that because you are a woman and then you were stronger, and then you were able to take the toughest things and manage the house well?
So I actually wasn't managing the house well. I think when COVID struck, my husband's a builder, Rustabji, and they were shut. So he was kind of completely manning the house with my kids. We were an essential services company, and the one thing that Zorabian stands for, besides, our three, when we talk about trust, there are three words, are quality, integrity, and trust. So Zorabian's always been about trust, always been about service. And the one thing my father would always say is, 365 days of the year, kai bhi thai, Zorabian, service aapse. We've never kind of let our customer down. And COVID was not going to stop Zorabian or the entire team that works for us. And I think it was not just me being a woman being there. Yes, I was at work every single day because I lead the front end of the team. But I had my brother and the entire farm, kind of every single person working right through COVID. We were the only company supplying chicken for the first 20 days because we were the only ones who have our own distribution. So we were able to wing it. And I think what was what was driving all of us was that people know कि कहीं भी, like in Gujarati, you know, whatever happens, Zorabian's going to stand tall. And I think if there's one thing, like you said, what has COVID taught you? I think COVID has taught, you know, Zorabian was always known for quality, unmatchable. You know, they're like, you know, you can trust them and like they're just amazing people. But I think what happened with COVID was that for Zorabian, people said, my God, what a resilient brand. So whilst they're not as large as the other multinationals, my God, they've got some tenacity. So I think, you know, the resilience of the team, the spirit of the team, we've always been very, like, we're like full on Josh, and we're always very, very, you know, out there, committed to service, committed to quality. But I think COVID kind of really made us all step our boundaries and really, you know, the customer, the vendor, the partner, everybody kind of, you know, just kind of looks at us with much more respect, much more love, much more admiration. And we won, we were awarded at the Raj Bhavan by the governor, you know, for our incredible work, because Zorabian went not just to the stores and the modern retail chains, but Zorabian also kind of went to communities and homes. The Bombay Parsi Panchayat head called me up saying, Pariza, there are old Parsis who, you know, can't step out and they don't have chicken. And so it was amazing what, you know, we were able to do in a time like this. We were so fortunate to be able to kind of really step out there.
You know,
and courage is a very contagious thing. You know, you do one step and then the whole team gets charged up and it's like a snowball effect all across.
Share the story which I heard that at the time of COVID, when there is no food supply, and especially the older people, one of those Baikula colonies where old people did not have and then they wanted, and then somebody volunteered to bring it, and then you helped them out?
So it was amazing. You know, during COVID, we were the only company. There was no chicken in the market. I had the cold storages screaming and shouting at us, you know, like you said, you know, 8,000 people. And you know what I'm saying? When your sales go 5 times over, every modern retail trade partner, every general store guy, everyone was screaming for chicken because, you know, there were 3 other brands that were not able to supply them. And in all of that, you know, I got the first call from Rustam Bagh saying, please do this, from a cousin of mine. And I'm like, there's no chicken. At that point, people were calling me for chicken, right? It was insane. But we said yes, because she was my cousin. And of course, what was amazing is I said, listen, I don't have the manpower. I do not have so many people. All I can do is make sure the vehicle comes to you and allocate that chicken to you, because we couldn't supply orders to everybody. And it'll drop the stuff and it'll leave. You take care of the rest. It's unbelievable. There were hordes of people, you know, volunteers in all these bags, in all these societies who actually came down to kind of execute that order. You're talking about we were dropping like 500 and 600 packets in each colony. And they had like 8, 9 people all standing there, receiving the chicken, distributing it, collecting the money, and giving it back to our driver. So what this kind of, and then that kind of went on to 100 societies all across Bombay. And that really shows people, right? Yeah. Because it's not just us, but even there was so much humanity that we saw. And in fact, my brand manager, Meghraj, made this most amazing video because we have clips of just, I mean, educated, amazing people just out there to help and make sure the old and people who couldn't get the product was able to get food and to be, you know, they were able to get a whole lot of stuff.
I think somewhere, you know, knowing you for so many years and also, you know, doing my research about you and then your company, I think one of the things, you know, which stands out is the values which you inherited from your father. And one of the things even Marvin has spoken about, that, you know, the values, the trust, you know, builds only with values and certain honesty, integrity, and then certain things, you know. How that impacted the way you reacted during the COVID time and rallied people, and then what was the role that the values which you personally had, transferring them onto the brand in such a seamless fashion?
So I think the values of the brand, I've been working with the brand for the last 12 years, but the values of the brand come from my father. And, in poultry, you see so many highs and so many lows, and it's really been a tumultuous journey for Zorabian. And even through our hardest times, never once, has makka and soya not been delivered to us, irrespective, like I was telling you, of the kind of, the outstanding that, was there. I think trust is a big factor. Trust, on one hand, wins you the consumer, of course, and like Mazen said, you can't buy it. You have to earn it. With your partners, you have to earn trust. By kind of, living up to your word and really kind of walking the talk. And I think it's not just what trust doesn't just get you through good times. It really holds you strong through bad times and through tough times. And I think those are the values that I think the family, that the company has inherited from my father, and that we hope to kind of take down all across the board,
Yeah, I mean, such simple things or values of life applied into business. They're no different.
So when the Bombay Parsi Panchayat called me up, when the president called me up and said, listen, we want you to do this you're doing it at Rustam Bagh. We'd like you to do it for all the colonies. I'm like, are you crazy? Like, there's no way I can do it. That our team is human. It was impossible. And my father calls me up and says, Parizad, tu kar se. Do not be like that. You know what I'm saying? So it was easier for me to do one big drop at maybe a hyper city and not kind of have to do all these multiple, hits, which was so exhausting. And with a small team in the office because they were working from home and it was crazy. But, it was kind of, we were living up to what, was expected out of us. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And what was great about trust? My drivers and helpers, because we have our own distribution unit, they all looked at me, and I came to work every single day. I have 2 young children. And I went and spoke to them. I said, Didi, aa rahi hai kaam pe? If I'm coming and I have 2 children and I'm going to be okay, all of you guys are going to be okay. So I think they trust me as well, that they kind of surrendered. I was speaking to, team members, parents, kind of just convincing everybody. And because they trust me, they trusted their child or whatever, their daughter or their wife to kind of come into work. So I think trust is a big thing. It helps you in all phases in life.
I think, as he also.
Yeah, I loved your presentation. I've made little notes in my, on my phone. Really fantastic.
We are talking.
And it's a Parsi thing. I was like, it's a Parsi,
We were talking about trusted brands. I don't know why such a simple thing gets missing. So it has to be there in the DNA of the company, and then the culture of the company, to really, make people trust and then do things, by being transparent and honest and whatever. During the time of COVID, I've been in touch with most of the FMCG multinational clients, whether they are Unilever or Procter or ITC or Nestle or whoever, but they're always struggling with production, with distribution, with management, and then
I had the CEO of my competitor brand message me saying, ma'am, how are you doing it? Yeah. Like, what the hell are you doing? And I'm like, this is the power of being small sometimes.
Yeah, I think that's a beautiful way to put it, the power of being small. Size, one needs to forget that with size comes responsibility of leadership, and then you need to do proper things. If you don't do it, then size will become a burden. And then if you are young and small, you can be nimble, and then you can be agile, and then you can be freer, and then you can turn as many times as you want within a room. But if you grow to be an elephant, then you will not be able to take one turn.
So, Pops, it's amazing that, of course, the brand has kind of scaled up. And it's, when we started off the retail, we were, I used to always say, don't compare yourself with the big trucks. You're a little cycle that can go in and maneuver yourself. But now as we grow.
Even you wanted to become an international brand now?
So I'll just finish what I was just saying 1 second ago. So as we've scaled up and grown into this large company, my biggest struggle right now is to kind of make my team and think like a smaller company. Have the agility, have the, have that, so yes, whilst we want to kind of, move on, we have people taking our chicken and our products to Singapore and Dubai, and because our ready-to-cook food is really tasty and it's really like, it's pure and fantastic and preservative-free, and it tastes good because we have a huge culinary background. So yeah, that should be the next step, really. To be premium, to be niche, and, to kind of go everywhere where the Indian palate is something that everyone is kind of so interested in. So yeah, definitely that should be the next step for Zorabian. And that's the plan.
Just to sum up what she said, and then what the topic which we were talking about, is how can you make a brand future-proof, is to really be honest,
humble,
have values, and have passion. If you talk to Parizat for 15 minutes, she will offer you food. But she is passionate about food. If you don't love food, you have no business to be in the business of food. Correct? Be passionate, and then while you are scaling up, keep the culture alive. And those are the things where you can make your brand future proof, because brands are nothing but companions for people. People trust brands because those brands have a purpose in their life. And then people don't buy products, people buy brands because they have an emotional connect with them. If brands do not command a premium, then they are not brands. They ceases to be brands. They will become products and commodities. And then people pay money, and then if they pay more money, you can make the R&D, and then you can make better products, and then you can serve people much better, not the greed of making money, and then not being honest about the relationship. So those are the things which are going to make any brand future-proof. There is no brand which can be future-proof if you don't change constantly. And then if you adopt the change, then you can remain relevant to the people, and then your purpose needs to be redefined, whether you are playing a role in their life or not playing a life. Otherwise, you will become a little, which will be irrelevant to today's girls, correct? And which will always remain as mothers or even grandmothers' soap, correct? So those are the lessons to really take from Parizat. Very inspiring story that a small brand which is into retail, from there going on to really breaking the ground and then taking on and really farm to folk story. They have started with the poultry, and then they manage.
We're going to give you the entire range of services.
Yeah, absolutely.
Baba Food is going to be accessible to all now.
So those are the lessons to take from this inspiring lady here. I don't know, she's superwoman. I don't know what she doesn't do. She does almost everything. She's an actress, she's a model,
those were the days. Now I'm only a murgi wali selling chicken.
She's an entrepreneur.
Rather well.
She's a marketing person.
Yeah, but now only murgi wali selling chicken, right? And looking like one as well, unfortunately.
So just give a big hand to her for her
Thank
success.
you. And thank you, Pops. It's always so great to speak to you. He's a legend and really the most insightful human being you've met. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure. Love you. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, can we have a huge round of applause one more time? And I do believe that whenever crisis happens, so many of us chicken out because of the situation, and then there are so many who actually step up the game, and I think this discussion was nothing short of a masterclass. So thank you so much for sharing your learnings, Parizat, and thank you once again, Sridhar sir. Indeed, what an evening it's turning out to be. And on that note, what we're going to do is actually set the stage for our next panel discussion, in fact. But before we bring our panelists on board and before they deep dive into another very pertinent issue or a topic that they're about to discuss, what I'm going to do is also have on the screen the video message by Mr. Matthew Job, who's the CEO of Crompton Greaves Consumer Electricals. And this is where I'm sure Mr. Matthew will also be focusing on the fact that one of the most fascinating pivots of last year was that from the consumer's end. So let's try to understand from his perspectives, and then we'll be inviting our panelists on board to deep dive into a panel discussion. So let's have the video on the screen, please.
Hello, everyone. A lot of people have been asking me about how Crompton has dealt with the crisis created by the pandemic over the last 1 year. So here I would like to share some of our experience on how we have managed during this period of enormous difficulty and unpredictability. When the COVID crisis first hit in March 2020, it challenged us in many ways as a company. Like most good companies, we had in place an elaborate BCP, or business continuity plan, that will help the company navigate through or overcome a crisis. Now, typically, such a BCP is equipped to deal with partial disruption to business for short periods of time, like those caused by a fire in a factory or a limited supply disruption, an ERP server crash, etc. When the pandemic crisis hit, we quickly realized that this was the kind of a situation which we had not factored in or prepared for. It was going to disrupt the business end to end, supply side on one side, to markets and demand on the other side. The time period for which this disruption would last was unpredictable and would be dictated by the trajectory of the pandemic, which was impossible to forecast with any degree of certainty. It became quickly clear to us that we had to prepare for the worst possible situation. Even before the situation started to worsen in India and the government mandated a complete lockdown, we proactively decided as early as 16th of March 2020 to move indefinitely to a work from home mode. This early decision gave us a short but critical window of opportunity to prepare the organization to operate productively in the work from home environment. We used the time to, one, procure the necessary IT hardware and test the data infrastructure. Two, to ensure that tools like MS Teams, Zoom, etc. would work satisfactorily. Three, ensure we had the necessary bandwidth available. And four, move some of the critical IT assets from the office locations to people's homes. Now, throughout the period of the pandemic, we operated on three simple principles. Number one, top priority to people's health and safety while keeping them engaged and productive. Two, cost and cash conservation. And three, rapid or vertical scale up when the situation eases. Now, I'll try to give some color to what we did under each of these three themes or areas. The first theme, people's health and safety. Now, we stopped all non-essential travel, asked all employees, except those performing duties that could not be carried out from home, to work from home. And we relaxed travel rules to ensure that employees do not need to take public transport. We asked our teams to minimize in-person interaction, actively encourage use of personal vehicles where possible, and allowed usage of taxis for employees who in normal course of business were not eligible for the same. Safety and sanitation measures like mandatory temperature checks and increased frequency of cleaning of touch points were implemented at all locations. We distributed safety kits which comprise masks, sanitizers and hand wash to all our employees in sales. In the factories, we installed MyShield, an application that will enable us to monitor adherence to social distancing and help with contact tracing in case any of our employees were to test COVID positive. We made a commitment to our employees in April 2020 that we would neither cut salaries nor cut jobs. At a time of great and grave uncertainty, This gave our teams the assurance and security that they most needed. We quickly realized that government hospitals alone would not be able to bear the load of treating all those who contracted COVID, and that treatment at a private hospital would be expensive. Hence, we quickly topped up our health insurance to take care of any expenses of COVID-related hospitalization. And we also doubled our average group term life insurance sum assured. Every COVID positive case in the company was closely monitored by the leadership team to ensure that the best possible medical care was made available. We instituted a monthly Ask the CEO session. The employees could send in their questions, concerns, feedback, etc. in advance, and these were addressed during the CEO webcast. There were also 3 monthly small group interactions done by me. Each group interaction was with 10 people from different functions and levels at a time. And this enables a free and frank exchange of ideas. Now, another area that received renewed attention was the whole area of training and development. We have conducted in this period more than 100 training programs, accumulating nearly 20,000 man-hours on a variety of topics such as product technology, sales fundamentals, service, finance, quality, etc. Of these, more than 70% was put together and executed exclusively by our internal teams. We rolled out the degree learning platform, which hosts 25 courses curated specifically for Crompton employees on most relevant topics, such as managing careers, giving effective feedback, assertiveness, lean manufacturing, channel development, etc. More than 1,000 employees have logged on and started using the platform. Nearly 25% of them have completed at least one course. The second theme was around cost and cash conservation. Now, the company was among the best positioned in the industry to ride out the storm, both by virtue of being the industry's most profitable company and because of the strong cash position in our balance sheet. Now, while cash is king at the best of times, it became even more critical at times like this. We took steps to ensure collection of due payments, renegotiated for more liberal credit terms where possible, and took all other sensible actions possible to maximize cash. Now, this ensured that our already strong cash position improved significantly throughout the year. The next important area we focused on was costs. We segregated the good costs and the bad costs. The good costs are those that have a strong link to business. For example, digitalization costs, costs of R&D, top performer incentives, etc. The bad costs are costs that do not build business, like costs of large offices, costs of general travel and conference costs, etc. We insulated and ring-fenced the good costs, while we took a scissor and eliminated bad costs. We could save costs in excess of 100 crores through a variety of these initiatives, and that helped us retain our profitability throughout the period of the pandemic crisis, something which very few organizations have really managed. The third theme was around a rapid or vertical startup. Now, our factories were among the first in their respective locations to start and scale up to the maximum permitted capacity. We rejigged the lines and ran multiple shifts to cater to the demand while adhering to safety and physical distancing norms. Our sales team made a thorough analysis of the markets based initially on the red, amber, green classification, and thereafter based on the containment and non-containment zones. The implementation based on this analysis resulted in a quick ramp-up of sales as the lockdown was being exited in a phased manner. We realized that there would be rapid acceleration of demand on e-commerce platforms and other direct-to-consumer channels as the pandemic forced more of the demand to move online. Early and decisive action ensured that we could cater to this demand effectively, thus doubling our sales through these channels in this period. In summary, we did not do anything complex or difficult to navigate through the crisis. We merely lived by the mantra which has always been our guiding philosophy. Take the best possible care of our people and let them take excellent care of our business. As I briefly explained, early in the crisis, we anticipated and addressed the employees' concerns. We engage the employees and their families through various initiatives and regular communication. The employees were delighted with the steps we took. And when things started to improve, they went beyond the call of duty to deliver extraordinary, industry-leading results, showing that they're worth their weight in gold. It is because of the extraordinary Cromptonian spirit displayed by each and every one of my team members that we not only survived, but thrived during this extraordinarily difficult period, and have actually become a much stronger company in the process. I hope I have been able to share some information that will be of some value. Thank you. A lot of people have been asking me about how Crompton has dealt with the
I thought the bandwidth went low suddenly, which is generally what happens when we are on a virtual webinar, but nevertheless, those were some dynamic thoughts that we managed to get from Mr. Matthew Job in terms of not only adapting to newer technologies, but also giving the humane side of it. With that, let me also quickly invite on stage our panelists, who in fact will be sharing their thoughts around the entire concept of diving deeper and understanding the changes in the customer and consumer behavior. Now, while we do that, we do believe that the way we interact, the way we understand, or for that matter, the way we consume brands, it's completely changed, and I'm sure it has changed forever. So what we do understand is it's become imperative in order to dive deeper and understand these changes that are taking place in the customer behavior for that matter. So what does it really mean for the myriad industries? Why do I say myriad industries? Is because our stalwart speakers joining us right now come from different segments of the industries, and it'll be interesting to gather insights from all the different industries that will be participating this evening. So very quickly, let me go ahead and invite our speakers. First up, we have with us Vidisha Chatterjee, who's the Communications Director, India. What's up? Warm welcome, ma'am. Let's have a round of applause to welcome all of our speakers, one after the other. May I also invite Vikram Garga, who's the Vice President and Head of Marketing with Mahindra Auto. All right, let me further invite Sandeep Dandekar, who's the Country Head, Bridge Data Centers. A warm welcome, sir. Subodh Mehta, Senior Vice President, Sales and Marketing with Godrej Interior. Good evening, sir. And may I also invite our panel chair. We have with us Mr. Abhishek Malhotra, partner with McKinsey and Company. A huge round of applause there. And let's actually indulge in this wonderful discussion. And let's have Mr. Abhishek Malhotra to take over the proceedings from here. Over to you, sir.
Hello. Good evening, everyone. It is on. Wow. So it really feels nice to sit on a stage after, whatever. First of all, be in person. I don't think I've been in a group of people this large, and I'm sure the other panelists and other people in front of me would have said the same thing. It feels a little bit risky, but I think it also feels a little bit nice, right? So it's like you're on top of a roller coaster or something. So hopefully we'll enjoy the ride and enjoy the next 45 odd minutes. So first of all, thanks for coming here, and we look forward to an engaging 30 to 45 minutes with this panel. As we just heard people say, this is different industries, different perspectives, different cities, and I think that's what will make it a truly engaging session. So the topic was how consumers are changing and how consumer behaviors are changing. Just a quick introduction, then I'll ask my panelists to introduce themselves as we go down. I'm a partner at McKinsey and Company, a consulting firm. We've been studying consumer behavior for years, but specifically over the last 13 months, right, as this pandemic hit us, we've kind of doubled down our efforts to kind of truly understand what's happening, which trends will stay, which trends will move. So though at one end, this is a horrific pandemic, right? Significant impact in terms of lives, in people's families, a lot of effort, a lot of people are working hard for it. And, all credit to them, that people who've given, their nights and weekends and all to ensure that we stay safe, including here. But at the same point, it's also been truly a revolutionary 13 months, right? Nobody estimated the impact. I think all of us started for that first week exactly a year ago, right? Locked up in our houses. But slowly, as the lockdown extended, as the restriction, as the disease spread, small changes in our lives started to get a lot more permanent. For example, these masks that a lot of people are wearing, the bottle of sanitizer you're holding inside your bags or your pockets, how you're interacting with people, what your behaviors are. And what happens is if you do some things for a long time, it becomes part of life, right? That's where it is. And as somebody who works with clients to help them decipher, this is both an opportunity and it's also a threat, right? So as McKinsey looked at it, there were 4 things that stood out. And as we go around with the panel, I don't think we'll have time to do, there's this dirty looking clock there which will start winding down pretty soon. We won't have time to go through all 4 things, but from a McKinsey's perspective, there are 4 things that stood out, right? 2 of them we'll go into detail. The first, obviously in this day and age, we can't not talk about digital, right? It was always a trend. It was a nice topic to talk about. I went to a lot of clients and spoke about it, and people say, yeah, it's happening, but not in my industry, not in my job. I think now there is zero, right? Like, it's inevitable, it's here to stay, and it'll continue to grow, right? So that's one part. I think the second part, which for some people good and some people not, became pretty clear was our homes, right? There is a different economy that's working at home. It has huge implications, right? What are we eating? What are we consuming? What are we not buying? How we are spending. So the home as a center, right? We're all social people, but suddenly our home, I don't think anybody spent so much time inside the 4 walls. And now we are all looking at it with a little bit more different sense, right? And thinking about how our lives will be. So it's truly been, whether it's for work from home, whether it's education, whether it's exercise, whether it's entertainment, whether it's consumption, that has significant impact. So, home as a central, and these 2 topics we'll go deep with the panel. The third thing is, which we will not talk much about, is I think this has had a significant economic impact, right? A lot of industries, this hotel is a good example, right? It's running at some 10% occupancy. These events are not happening. So there's a lot of economic hardships that people are facing. And I think that will translate into an economic, so you'll see a lot more value-driven play. You will see consumers down trading, and that's already started playing out in many sectors, right? So some people have gotten richer and made money. For people who invested in the stock market 1 year ago, it's a very good place to be in. But for others like me who did not or could not, we can just read the Economic Times and laugh at the notional wealth we could have made, right? And things like that. But jokes apart, but I think there is a economic hardship that this has brought. It has set the country back, it has set many families back, and that will play out actually. And I think the fourth part from a consumer behavior is loyalty. Brands, and we have some people here who will talk about, amazing amount of people have built up brands. Loyalty, my store, my brand, my product. And suddenly for 2 months you were shut, you were not available. You couldn't service it because you were inside a mall or you didn't have your factory open. And that opened up a plethora of choices for people. People experimented elsewhere, whether it was your bread to, an outfit which you didn't want and therefore couldn't go to a store, or your car if it has got waiting time. And suddenly all the loyalty has been thrown out of the roof. People have experimented so much, and it's a great time. It's a great opportunity. It's also a great threat for brands, right? And we've seen explosion in small brands come up, new things come up. So that's what this, and slowly, some of these changes are becoming pretty common and they are embedding in our system. And that's how, we look at this. This is how, it has significant implications for companies. It has significant look for people who are looking to grow their business. You really have to sit back and examine. And the key decision that becomes is, all this is good. This happened over 13 months. The question is not this year. Yeah, cases will go up and down, vaccination will. But how will this play out next 2 to 3 years? You know, is there things we will go back to normal? But what is normal? I really don't know, right? Is mask normal? Should I always buy a suit with a, will always be wearing a mask? Will I always be carrying a sanitizer? Will I always have the option to work from home 3 days a week? Is that the new normal? Will this event always have less people and more watching online? Hopefully people are watching online, but that's the new normal. And I think that's the real question companies have to sit back, because that has significant implications on business. And I'm honored to have a panel today which will address some of these questions, right? So we'll start with this. We'll go around this order, and it's I think we have 2 V's and 2 S's, so that's where it is. So they've sat in some random order. We'll start with you, Vidisha. What I'll do is maybe quickly introduce yourselves, 30 seconds. Let's talk about online, right? Online, digital, whatever, from your perspective, from a business sense, what do you see happening? And we'll go around. There's a mic in front of you. Hopefully it'll work. So we won't exchange mics, keeps it safer that way. And hopefully these were sanitized. So let's go.
Sure, thank you, Abhishek. Firstly, thank you really. It's a pleasure being with such a distinguished panel as all of you. And also wonderful members in the audience and very distinguished members of the audience as well. To introduce myself, I am Communications Director for WhatsApp in India. I'm extremely excited as well as humbled to be a part of this technology, which is so simple to use for people. And at the same time, it helps people to accomplish so much more. Abhishek said about the economic hardship, and we all know that there were a lot of sections of our society across which this economic hardship was felt. And I want to actually bring to you some very interesting, examples of how, and I'm sure all of us must have seen, that there were entrepreneurs that suddenly, people who became entrepreneurs suddenly overnight. There were home chefs who started to, create a business of their own, because the hardships of the pandemic kind of forced them to be ingenious, to be inventive, to be innovative. And a lot of it was accomplished through WhatsApp. So just imagine this, that over 2 billion people across the world are communicating through WhatsApp every day. In India, over 400 million people are communicating. You and I are communicating with each other through WhatsApp every day. There are 15 billion minutes of talk time that happen on WhatsApp every day. And there are 100 billion messages that are transferred across the globe every day. That's the scale and the potential of WhatsApp enabling private, secure, one-on-one personal conversations through its encrypted technology. But besides that, WhatsApp has also been innovating, and in its journey to innovate, it has created, I don't know how many people know about this, but 2 apps for businesses. One is the SMB app, which is free of cost, and a lot of vendors, a lot of retailers, the Kirana shop around the corner actually was able to replicate the physical store online due to WhatsApp's SMB app. So the customers, so he did not really go out of business. This was, a time of enablement for a lot of those people who thought, how is it that they are going to survive? So it was, a very heartening moment in the journey of WhatsApp. The other is that I'm sure during the pandemic, you all probably received messages from your banks. Your banks were able to stay in touch with you. Various other organizations, Make My Trip was able to stay in touch with you over WhatsApp. And all of that was possible because of the other innovation of the business API, which large enterprises use. And a lot of government to citizen services, like, for example, MyGov was able to connect on WhatsApp Business API and communicate to citizens credible COVID information, which was so required at the time. And I'm very happy to share with everybody that as of, I think, this month, there are about 30 billion users who've actually used MyGov app, and their curiosity and getting, their curiosity satisfied about genuine, credible information about COVID, which was so required. So I'm saying there is a lot of disruption that technology was positively able to enable, whether it was in the education sector, whether it was, the growth of small micro entrepreneurs, brewing from home, growing their businesses, and also likewise. So I think there has been a huge impetus, and as times go forward, we are going to see a lot more. And I know that this is, not taking up more time. I think I'd like to pass it on to Vikram. Please, over to you. You may have thought I'll never stop.
Hi, can you hear me? Hi. So I'm Vikram Garga. I take care of marketing at Mahindra Automotive. And just listening to Vidisha, I think the kind of staggering statistics that you have shared here on WhatsApp, I think really speaks about the transformation that we as human race have seen, and I think how digital has been adopted by everyone is just amazing. I just want to maybe say that even at Mahindra, I think we've really looked at the values that we have in terms of accepting no limits, alternative thinking, and positive change. All coming to the forefront in terms of seeing what we can do for the ecosystem of whether it is our suppliers, our dealers, our employees, and use digital to an extent to not just disseminate information, but make processes much, much simpler and easy for them. And I think communication became extremely important, which whether we used social media, and I don't know how many of you would remember when we all were just figuring out how we're going to work from home. In 5 days flat, Mahindra was able to make a prototype of a ventilator. We having no background, no understanding, but the organization was looking at how can we help the human race, what can we do. So within no time, making whether it was face shields, whether it was face masks, whether it was providing food to the ecosystems that are around us and developing prototypes of ventilator, I think we brought that entire value system onto even on the digital side. Obviously when you're looking for survival, cars is the last thing on your mind, right? And Q1 has been one of the worst in the history of the auto industry, when maybe April was a month when not even a single vehicle was sold. And that was a time when we really had to go back and see as to how do we give assurance to our customers whenever they think they would need one. Because at the same time, they were also looking at personal mobility needs to now become more personal than sharing. And at some point of time, people would want to come back to buy their own vehicles. And what better way than to give them an experience online? And as an organization, I think within 4 weeks, we developed a complete own online platform where consumers could really search their cars, come to our websites, they could book a vehicle, they could even finance a vehicle, and they could exchange their own vehicle. While it did take its while in terms of as the market opened up, but what we have seen is a 10x in terms of the bookings that we are now getting online. Subscription was another thing that started catching on because people really didn't want to commit for an asset which is their second most expensive asset in their career, apart from buying a home, buying a car. So that took on, and as an organization, we saw a 2x growth in terms of the number of subscriptions we started having, and people started subscribing for 1 month, 3 months, and not for a longer term. And at that point of time, as an organization, we need to really gear up to see that what can we do to give customers an experience, a contactless experience, if they are looking for buying sales. And of course, vehicles that people already own, they wanted to get it serviced because they had been at their garage or at home for a very long period of time. But as an organization, we launched Show Safe, as a service for people to get whether in completely contactless sales and service. It was almost like bringing showroom home or bringing workshop home. And that gave people, in my mind, an assurance that as an organization, we are there to see how we can support while they are looking at everything else in terms of, living and living every day, but providing them whatever they think they need for their mobility to be by their side. And I think those are some of the things that, as digital, we did very early in the pandemic days. And of course, thereafter, I think it's only got more interesting because people are now caught on to really searching for their vehicles online. In fact, 21 out of 26 touch points of buying a vehicle is now digitized. And 95% of people who are buying cars are today actually searching online. So it's here to stay. And I think as an organization, we are continuously looking at how do we make it more meaningful, how do we make it more personalized for the customers to experience cars and give them the assurance that, their buy is the best buy. And I think it's a journey that we all are on, and I'm sure there's going to be lots more interesting initiatives and inspiration that we will pick up from our industry and outside to get more accustomed to, offer a digitized experiences to our customers.
Thanks. Thanks, Vidisha. Thanks, Vikram. So, Sandeep, all this data generated, right? 21 out of 26, those billions of statistics that Vidisha said is business is good for you, right? All of this comes to data. So maybe a quick introduction and then explain why, what did you see?
Absolutely. Anything left to speak? So both of you have covered most of the points. Life literally changed overnight. And the kind of disruption that we have experienced during last, I would say 13 to 14 months has been unprecedented and to a great extent will remain unprecedented. I'm so glad that I come from a sector, I work for Bridge Data Centers and I'm their country head. So I come from a sector which is so glad, which is so proud that we have provided the platform for all these changes, all these businesses to sustain. Because for its technology, because of cloud and data centers, it's been possible for businesses to quickly agile, in an agile manner, move to location specific to mobility, brick and mortar to digital, and on-prem to cloud. In fact, these three things have made all these changes possible. It has made possible for not just businesses to survive, but for people and human to remain in their senses and in their livelihood on this planet, actually. The change is only going to remain and it is going to accelerate. More and more data will move into cloud, more and more automation will come, and the way brick and mortar has changed. It was very obvious that those businesses which had made enough investments had taken early steps to move, to do enough investments in technology, were finding it easier to sustain, easier to find way through this disruption. And therefore, this change has only been accelerated through COVID. I'm sure post-COVID is going to be even an accelerated journey in terms of technology than even during the last 12 months, because it has only set a path for technology changes.
Thanks, Sandeep. So Subodh, we'll come to you. In May and June, if you knew one person, you needed an extra work from home chair or a desk, then Subodh was the person to call. I think there were a few things which were in short supply, and a nice comfortable chair was like one of them. So Subodh, please, a quick introduction, and then what have you seen, from your perspective, how business has changed, how consumers have changed over the last 13 months?
Yeah. So thank you, Abhishek. I am Subodh Mehta. I look after Godrej Interior Home Furniture business. And we actually already had an e-commerce site, and as you know, that digital adoption was increasing even pre-COVID area. A lot of people were doing the research online and then trying to come to the store. So obviously the COVID has accelerated the digital adoption substantially at a very, very exponential rate. So that's one part which possibly common with every e-commerce site. But we had a different kind of a challenge. We are in multi-channel, and most of the furniture is still sold through our physical stores. So we have a lot of stores of our own which company operates, but we have got a lot of franchise stores and a lot of dealers. Now, the issue was, when the lockdown happened in April, we were shell-shocked. But obviously, these dealers at the franchise store had to pay their rent. They had to support their manpower, sales as well as service manpower. They had to pay their salaries. And the revenue side, everything basically came to naught. So there was a big challenge of making sure that we have to ensure business continuity, considering the fact that they are our stakeholders and who have supported us all the time. So to that extent, company had set the ball rolling. We tried, wrecked our brain and then finally decided what should we do. So we started doing what we call the local digital marketing. We used all the platforms available, the Google My Business, Facebook, and WhatsApp Business, of course, came a bit later because we started these things in April, May itself. And anything else available, Instagram, etc., at our disposal. So we started creating that marketing, started generating the leads, and we started collecting that information and distributing based on the area of the dealer. So what would happen is leads will have the phone numbers and customer contact details. So all the manpower, whether they were in stores, because most of the stores were closed that time, and all the manpower which was sitting at home, they will start calling the customers. So I think the ball was set rolling. Customer got interested. And then we started also doing the demonstration based on our e-com site as well as the e-catalog. And actually many of the transactions got completed, especially the work from home furniture, because everybody wanted a chair, a table very badly and very quickly. So those are the WFH furniture got started settling through these kind of a system itself, apart from the fact that some people were comfortable on going to the e-com site. So when the stores, then slowly the stores getting, started open, but not all over India. Say in Bangalore was the one where the stores started opening first, right? So then another thing happened. We started fixing up the virtual calls. So what would happen, even if a person in Delhi wants to have a look at the sofa, kind of in a video platform, then the store person in Bangalore store will fix up a WhatsApp call or Teams call or any video platform available, will explain the sofa, and he will have that confidence of, closer to being a physical stores. So idea was to create a sort of in-store experience in an online manner. So that started in a big way. And I think that worked pretty well. A lot of people started closing their transactions, much faster. When the stores started opening up, one important thing we realized, see, home furniture is a big ticket value order. So people do not simply buy the way people will buy FMCG in one attempt. People will at least visit the store 3 to 4 times. There will be prolonged discussion. And sometimes the purchase value can be 4 to 5 lakhs, 6 lakhs if they're buying a number of furniture items. So what happened, now people will actually, when the stores started opening, mobility was sort of allowed. Then generally, instead of 3 to 4 visits, now most of the work will happen either on the research side or a discussion on a digital media. Only one visit will happen now. And that visit, people will finalize, will take a decision. They would have really done all the homework. They will see the thing. The furniture is a touch and feel and look product. You need to feel the comfort. You need to feel the fabric. We need to be comfortable with that. So this is the method people adopted. People started visiting only once after doing the research and started closing the order. So this is how basically digital adoption became so important, and a lot of customers who were not comfortable with that, I think they started doing it because we were encouraging them to do that. And one more important thing, when we were sharing the content, it was not just about sales. Initially we shared the content about actually how you can be healthy when you're sitting at home. How can you do various exercise? We are also heavily into ergonomics because we are heavily into chair where ergonomics takes a very important place. So we started talking about that. We also started talking about what are the things you can cook because we are also into the kitchen business, So our lot of content, more than 50% of the content about just engaging with the customer. And then later on, we realized that such engagements is getting, moving, shifting to the sales. And eventually, we started getting our sales. So that was a great experience. And now we see that, that video calls, virtual calls have become, part of the game. Even if the store is open and the person can visit the store, he would possibly do all the research and discussions online and maybe visit it only once. Now talking about the WFH, that's the furniture which started moving off the shelf like mad. So as he rightly said, fortunately we are in office furniture, so we had a number of desks and number of chairs. And a lot of companies actually had an agreement with us where we would give a specific price. A lot of companies supported their employees by giving them the money for buying a furniture. So we would fix up a particular code and they would get that furniture at the prescribed or the agreed prices which we have. So that arrangement also increased the WFH, work from home furniture by substantially. And I think it was more than 5x. What we used to sell earlier and what you said in this period was almost 5 times more. So we were just running around. The challenge was from a factory side because factories were also not open. So how to basically make that furniture quickly, that was a bigger challenge. So I think I will stop here. And
no, that's very, very exciting. Yeah. So Vikram, maybe we'll come to you and Vidisha later after you. So all this is great, right? But are we wearing lenses? Is this a Mumbai story, urban, people? Is Sholapur also doing the same? Is a small town person also behaving, 21 out of 26 touch points, video calls? I don't know, maybe both of you could quickly react. Like, is this India? Is this Bharat? Is this, is the Kirana guy in pain or in, Raigad still, accepting, or ordering through WhatsApp? Or is it just us people around here, right? Just any quick reactions on that?
Sure. So maybe before Vidisha comes with her statistics in millions and billions, let me just come in from an auto industry perspective, and I can just tell you that we've got an overwhelming response from the tier 2, tier 3 markets. In fact, as you go down, rural is where the pent-up demand is happening. So when we looked at even our own online platform, we were expecting actually that the metros are going to be the first one to adopt. But even today, the tier 2, tier 3 towns are actually coming online, booking online, and brands like Scorpio, brands like Bolero, XUV 300, which is our latest, including Thar, which has been a blockbuster launch. We're getting a lot of great response coming from the rural. I think the other thing that has happened is because the whole adoption of digital has happened across, and like Vidisha said, WhatsApp has been taken up by people down in the rural and smaller towns, vernacular language and, people consuming content which is vernacular, so of course for entertainment people have been doing for quite some time. But I think the brands which have started using vernacular and reaching out to consumers is doing well. For a brand like us, Bolero is really picked up exceedingly well in Hindi belts. Just to quote maybe one statistic, actually we got a 44% surge in the search trends when we go vernacular, versus
so
English.
People are searching.
People are searching online, and add to it, video content is even more picked up by people. In a time when actually the industry's trends were going in negative, we were actually seeing online trends in vernacular content going up. Our cost per reach and cost per leads were actually getting better and better as we made it personalized, contextual and local. And I think hyper-local was the other area where things were really working. So that's something that, we are seeing a significant adoption happening at a very deep interiors of the country.
Okay. Vidisha, to you. And I guess the other angle is also just to kind of think age group wise, right? Is it, only the young people who are doing it? Is it across age group? Has the adoption been, so both of those angles, if you could touch on.
Sure, Abhishek. There are very quickly 2 or 3 separate things, but all related that I'll talk about. One is that it's across age group that it's got on because we've seen that education has been started to be dispensed online, right? So because of that, we've also increased of course, we've seen a surge in video calling, in voice calling, of course, and we've also increased the number of people who can do a video call now from 4 to 8. So that's just, another one of the innovations that we've added around this time. There's also desktop calling, which has become very popular because a lot of students use that. And it only helps that WhatsApp is available in about 11 languages across the country. But I just want to touch upon what you said earlier, is it really an urban phenomena or is it really happening around the fringes as well? I want to share two stories. One is that there is an organization called Convigenius. It is an edtech company, and it has actually been one of those most successful edtech companies that operates only through WhatsApp, wherein there is an exchange of over 10 million messages every day between teachers and students across rural and remote areas of the country, across languages, and students have been able to follow their, CBSE and other state board curriculums primarily through the entire time of the pandemic, primarily on WhatsApp. And this is an ongoing thing. There is no let up in the numbers. In fact, from 10 million, it's a lot above, but it's not an official number, so I'm not talking about it. So that is one. Second is an extremely interesting story, at least I find it very interesting. In the suburban, like really almost rural parts of Maharashtra, there is a para-vet by the name of Rajshri Jadhav. She's part of the Mandeshi Foundation. Mandeshi is a small little bank that helps to finance lower income groups, women from lower income groups, and skills them as well. So she was skilled as a para-vet by Mandeshi Foundation, and we work very closely with Mandeshi Foundation. And this lady, during the COVID, she was actually, she works with a lot of farmers and a lot of their animals and stuff. And there was a farmer who called her up very worried because the goat was pregnant and wanted to give birth, but because of social distancing, there was no way that this lady, this doctor, this para-vet could actually be there with him to be able to deliver the goat. And what they did is they actually took the help of video calling on WhatsApp, which was suggested by the younger generation, by the daughter of this para-vet, a 14-year-old. And they gave them step-by-step instructions on how to deliver the kid. And finally, it was the goat's life was saved and everybody was happy. So I think that's something which is, really very eye-opening in terms of what technology has been able to accomplish.
Okay, a very, very heartening story. So both back to you, you spoke about dealers getting active, people getting things. Do you think some of this will stick next year, as you're opening new stores, as you're thinking about business again? Is it, just, we will forget about it and we'll talk about it? And Sandeep, maybe quick reaction on the same topic from you. As you're working with companies, are you seeing them think about this longer term, or is this, post-COVID means, hopefully we should have been talking about post-COVID now, but maybe next year, right? When there is a post-COVID. So both quick reaction.
So, see, I think we can definitely say that a lot of it is going to stick. One, we talked about across the age part. So, older generation, it was like, obstacle because they had not done it before. Once you do it, you get used to it. So now a lot of older generation, you find that, quite comfortable all these digital tools. They are able to really handle that. And possibly they were taught about that by their sons and daughters, right? But once they have learned it, they have started using it. So it is, I think, going to be the across generation quite a lot, and slowly everybody is learning. Now, in terms of a digital adoption, definitely it has gone up very, very high. It is going to stay. People have realized that some kind of a, unified commerce and some kind of a combination, because in furniture, we believe that a bit of a physical thing will still remain. But a combination is going to really work well. You really don't have to travel all the way to the store every time for a small stuff. Most of the thing can be sorted out through a discussion, through a digital tool, or through any call you would like to do. And even payments, etc., can be made, So that is already definitely happening in a big way. And because of that, I think we have already started thinking of how to strengthen it. So for example, now we have a concept of virtual stores. So this virtual store is available to everybody, in the store. So suppose customer wants to discuss and he says, okay, I want a ABC sofa, I really want to get a feel of that. I've seen it, but it still feels static on the e-com site or, so I want to really feel it, how much it presses when you sit on that, how much comfortable it is, right? So all those things can be managed through this virtual store. So again, the store guy takes the customer through this virtual store, product by product, and explains everything about it. So basically, it's completely digital thing happening, and the idea is to recreate the in-store experience, that social kind of a shopping part, talking to somebody, getting a feel, getting a comfort that I'm talking to somebody. If something goes wrong, I can catch hold of them. That's one thing which people find, that e-com is very, very impersonal. Even chatbot, you give any kind of a name, but it's still very impersonal. People know that, right? So that personalized kind of a factor is also coming in this, but everything is happening from the comfort of your home. You're not stepping out of your home, So that part, we are giving training to the people. How should you actually handle a virtual call?
And all of this you hope to kind of continue next year?
We have already started doing it. A lot of things. I mean, I can go on and on. When somebody on an e-com site, so there are companies, you can have the API where there is a button will come, I want to connect to the store. So you are on the e-com site, you are trying to figure it out. There are a lot of questions you have. You just put that button, you get connected to a store, and that video call happens where he tells you everything. He sits on the sofa, he tells you from behind, this side. All kind of discussion can happen.
That's exciting.
So that way, I think it is going to definitely stay. And this is something which is, and local digital marketing is something we tried for the first time, because most of the digital marketing was for driving the visits to our e-com site. Because we knew, and we couldn't do any print, we couldn't do any BTL, that ground level kind of activities. A lot of it has been now transferred to the digital marketing, local digital marketing. So depending on the catchment area, customers, their sort of sensitivity, we decide what kind of a platform to be used. And we are definitely getting good results. So we are making a pretty big plan for next year also of the local district.
That's great. So Sandeep, your business takes years to develop a center and all. As you're talking to companies, do you see a similar trend? Like, are people planning for it a lot more better? As you engage with them?
Yeah, for sure. I think this change is here to live. There may be, whenever that post-COVID happens, there may be a little 10-15% rollback, but about 80-85% of the change is going to stay here. I am not definitely going to say that the whole wave or the whole the catalyzation that has happened on the journey of brick and mortar to digital is because of COVID. It only has accelerated. The direction was already set, and we have only pumped up the momentum. And for sure, it is not rolling back. If the stores are going to be online, if the cars are going to be seen, choiced and bought online, if there are going to be all the meetings and exchanges going to happen online, you need an infrastructure to provide that, to support that. And that's through data centers, that's through cloud. So for sure, these infrastructures are going to, you're going to live in an ecosystem of data centers. Not many people essentially who is the end consumer of that technology will know exactly what a data center or cloud is. But whether knowingly or unknowingly, you're going to be a consumer, you're going to be a subscriber to that. And that's a way of life forward.
Okay, that's exciting. And I think just a personal reflection, right? And I think I always wonder what will stick. So my mother used to have this, she gets a pension. So about 7th or 8th of the month, she used to walk to the local SBI branch to, update her passbook, right? That was an occasion. And very, very thrilled. She knew exactly how much money she was going to get. It was exactly the same the previous month, but the thrill was equally the same, right? But she's moved. I had to download an app for her, as you said, help her. Now the only worry is she checks it every day. That's the same amount of money. But it's the new behavior, right? Every day she has to check. And then, once in a quarter when the interest is deposited, then she gets again thrilled. So So, but it's becoming a habit, you know. And I asked her recently, like about a month back, if she wanted to go back to the brunch. She said, no, I can now check the balance anytime. And anyway, those people are rude, so I don't need to kind of go back and exhibit that, right? So a personal reflection.
And think of how life changes interestingly. And the only way left for us is to go with that change rather than trying to resist. There is a lot of good in this. I'm not going to essentially say that COVID has been bad. Yes, a lot of flip side, no doubt about it, but it is not 100% gray. It has brought a lot of good for us. This change is one of the good sides. You know, so Munnabai's Jappi was so glorified. Now nobody wants Jappi. We used to always talk about human touch in everything. Now nobody wants a human touch. You see, so life changes, and we have to go with it.
Vikram spoke about contactless buying, right? Everybody now pushes contactless, right? Which in India is very, very strange to imagine, I think. So shifting track, and I know we'll have 5-7 minutes, but shifting track, the other biggest change has been, you know, how we consume categories at home, right? The fact that we are at home, all of us were chatting elsewhere, formal shoes and, you know, trousers became less used, let me put it that way, you know, while jackets continue to be used. Personal care, you know, if you're always going to wear a mask, eyes need to look good for, you know, but maybe, you know, and same for men, right? Shaving product sale fell, you know, because you don't need to shave every day, right? On a Zoom call, there's only that much clarity that you'll see. So a lot of categories have gotten disruptive, new categories have grown. Both spoke about it, personal mobility, at least 2 clients kind of thing. Just maybe in any order we can go. Anything personally that you guys have done at home, which you never thought you would do, and things you continue to do. So whoever wants to go, I know from the panel, and we can, anything you want to share.
Wearing blazer and shorts together. I never thought I'm going to do that ever, and I do that so frequently. We never thought we were going to live under one roof with family for such long, and happily that happened. So many such things.
Yeah, no, I can definitely show something which has changed on me, which is I never grown hair beyond a certain level. So this is one thing that I risked, and I'm enjoying it. But I think there's a lot of other things, you know, camaraderie at home, you know, have gone to different levels. And I can tell you, I'm sure many of us in the initial period of the COVID, April, May, June, I think, at that point of time, we were rediscovering games that perhaps we played during our childhood. We did that with our kids. I, for example, never had worked out with my boys, you know, and we used YouTube a lot to, you know, exercise together. And I think the kind of bonding that we had at that time, you know, I've never felt great about it. While we knew the situation we were all in. And, you know, last but not the least, I was never good at cooking, but I became a home chef. And I actually created my vlog on Instagram and Facebook every Sunday, posting out something. So interesting stuff happened. And, you know, like you said, you know, everything is not bad. So, you know, it has made you improvise. It has made you perhaps connect with people. I remember there were so many Zoom calls you were doing with your families and friends whom you haven't spoken for months and years together. So I think those are some interesting times.
Subodh, and we'll come to you, Vidisha.
Yeah, so what Vikram said, actually, that's what I started doing it. So firstly, I started making tea in the morning for everybody. And of course, got interested usually in cooking whenever I will have a free time. And to support that, obviously, you know, I started buying stuff myself from Big Basket. Someone else will do it, but then I'll myself start looking at various things, you know, what can be bought. Because the idea was what dish I need to cook, you know, those stuff should be available with me. So that's how I started doing, you know, a big time. And of course, you know, maybe doing a bit of exercise and motivating each other to stay fit was part of the family core.
Excellent. Vidisha?
No, I think I agree with every little bit that everybody shared, and thank you so much for sharing. One thing that I still didn't improve upon is going to the kitchen and investing myself in cooking. That is something maybe I had to you know, take a leaf out of your books, and maybe sometime in the future I'll do that. But I just want to talk a little bit about how, you know, new employees onboarding, you know, in organizations completely online I mean, well, for me, that was quite an experience. And I think it is tough, but on the other side, I think organizations are doing a lot to make, new employees kind of comfortable and stuff. So there are many new things. And of course, I think it's been so humbling for everybody. People have realized that relationships are very, very precious. Like Vikram said, we ended up calling long lost friends, long lost relatives with who, you don't normally chat. So I think the world probably came a lot closer, I would like to think.
And didn't we all learn to appreciate those small things which we're taking for granted, cherishing those simple things in life, which with the kind of momentum that we had set ourselves in before COVID, we had kind of become numb to those things. And we started, because we paused, because we dropped speed, we started sensing them, and that was a rediscovery, I think, for all of us as a human being.
No, and it's exciting, right? And I think that's what, so thanks actually to the panel for those personal reflections, right? We started with business, but at the end of the day, this is the most exciting part, right? We are both consumers and, company owner, kind of professionals, right? But we are all consumers at the end of the day. So that's really nice. And I think the other part is, I think it's really encouraging to say how people made the most of it, right? Whatever your choices were. And that's what gave us the opportunity while seeing all the hardship around, while seeing, what state was happening, right? So I know all of us did something about that too, but in our personal lives, we were able to make the most of it. And I think some of these changes, as we started off the discussion, I think we are almost at 9 o'clock, so we'll end. Any closing remarks, or should I just go ahead and, okay. So I think as I started by saying, this is a pandemic, significant loss in terms of lives and other casualties, but it's also a time for drastic changes, both in our personal lives, in our professional lives, as we've spoken about. I think it encouraged consumers to try out new behaviors, and they were surprised how they could do it, right? Whether it's cooking, whether it's shopping, whether it's, and encouraged companies to be very, very innovative, right? Whether it's onboarding new people, whether it's converting dealers who've never done that. So I think it did cause all of us to slightly being shaken, from status quo, right? And in that way, at least that's a good thing. And I think there's maybe a learning for all of us, right? I think when we get too comfortable, we do need a little bit of this nudge, and actually maybe it's more than a nudge, right? Nudge, we all tend to, especially people in Bombay, right? We tend to ignore the nudges, right? They are not, maybe we need something a lot more stronger, right? And I think as a lot of you represent companies, right? Earlier, I know conversation about healthy food, conversations about homes, maybe it's need to be a lot more brutal, a lot more in your face to reflect those changes, right? That's when behaviors will change. I think the risk that we all bear is some of these will go back, and I think that's okay. Every time, I'm sure, at least I have signed up for a gym membership many, many years, and then, next year is the one where I'll be healthy and all, right? All of us do that pretty regularly. But other things do change, right? So here's looking forward to, new cooking, longer hair, more reflections. But each one of you could go back and think about what has already changed. But more importantly, what would you want to change about next year, right? And the year after that. And I think if you apply yourself, could be within your company, or could be you as consumers or your consumers, right? You can make that happen. I think the last 1 year has given us enough that, if my mom can, haggle with Sabzi Wala on WhatsApp, right? Then we can create the same consumer experience in an offline, into an online kind of thing, right? As you said, if you can close the deal, if you can still buy a car, if you can communicate with your loved ones, there are many things you can continue to do, but do it in a lot more efficient, do it in a lot more pleasing, do a lot more fulfilling manner. And I think as long as companies can do that, there's growth to be had, there are loyal customers to be had, and there's, business would be good, and when business is good, it's good for everybody. So on that note, thank you to the panel. Thank you for taking out time. Thanks, everyone. Sorry, we don't have time for Q&A and all, but we will keep you, I'm sure there's dinner outside, and we don't want to keep you, and there's a couple of other events left right after this. So thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much indeed. Can we have a round of applause to thank all of our panelists as well? And it's indeed insightful to gain your insights in terms of brands as well as consumers yourself. If I may also request our photographer to please come forward and capture a group photograph of all of our panelists together. I mean, on any other occasion, I would say a screenshot, but here I'm going to say like a group photograph. So if I can request you to please come forward and take a group photograph of all of our panelists. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Let's have you all together. Oh, we also have all of them lined up. Good evening, sir. Thank you so much again. Thank you very much. All right. And on that note, I'm going to quickly request Team Sahara as well to please come on the stage and set the stage for another fabulous segment of the evening. That's the plan. Because yes, ladies and gentlemen, this evening we have the august presence of a fabulous guest. And I know we all know him as a renowned actor in the Indian film industry. He's also an entrepreneur, and at the same time, he's a producer. But one thing that I will always remember him as is the person who in fact, I'll actually quote something that I read about him is, he said that, all the awards that he wins, it'll go to his shelf or the showcase. But what he truly rejoices are the moments he spends at Vrindavan, or for that matter, with the kids over there. And I must admit one thing, sir, is that there's a wonderful saying that what you do for yourself leaves with you when you leave the world. What you do for the others remains immortal. So thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. We have the presence of none other than Vivek Oberoi. So let's have a huge round of applause for Vivek Oberoi. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us this evening. And well, on that note, you must be wondering, what's the segment about? And I'm sure so many of you are waiting for the segment to begin. And while we are also setting the tech side of it, let me also set the tone for what's in store for the rest of the evening, along with the felicitations. Now, this is definitely the moment that we've all been waiting for, because this is the culmination of everything that the evening has built up towards. It's a celebration of a clutch of brands that have cornered consumer affection, or for that matter, loyalty, trust, and all of that in a way that few have managed to do so. Now, these are the brands that have stirred emotions and captured minds. And now, their achievements, in fact, has been captured in an exclusive book. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's in fact time to unveil the inaugural edition of the Most Trusted Brands of India 2021. Now, while we're talking about the coffee table book, I'd also like to inform you all that this research-based initiative recognizes brands from significant sectors that have contributed to the nation-building agenda, and also celebrates the best in the industry and all that the industry has to offer, as well as the economy. Now, this is in fact one of its kind platform that's dedicated to commemorating the momentous developments undergone by a business enterprise or an initiative. So yes, it's also time for the unveiling of the coffee table book for all of you, the cover in fact for all of you, and after that we will subsequently move on to the felicitations that we're all looking forward to. I'm going to get a quick thumbs up from the team, because I hear a lot of tuk-tuk happening over there on the screen. So are we all good? Console team, are we good? Tech team, backstage team, looks like we're good. Yes, amazing. This is still better than saying, hey, am I audible? You're on mute, and all that. So yes, I still enjoy this moment. We do a little tap. Just like we love to pat our backs, we'll pat the screen as well. Ek aage se, ek piche se bhi. Badhiya. Very nice. All right. You know why this is important is because we're talking about the unveiling of the coffee table book, the cover of it. So if that's not happening yet. Okay, if that's not happening yet, then let me actually move forward to informing you what's going to happen. We'll begin with the felicitations, and we of course have Vivek Oberoi joining us to do the felicitations for all these amazing brands that have earned our trust. And at the same time, we also have some of the brands who couldn't make it this evening, but we do not want to miss out on the names. So we will also have the videos played across for all of you on the screen. So team, are we ready? If so, then I'm going to invite both Vivek Oberoi and Rajesh Khupchandani to please come on the stage for the unveiling of the cover of the coffee table book. So let's have both of you on the stage, please. All the achievements being unlocked in this exclusive book, let's actually take a look at how the cover is turning out to be. All right, so let's have the cover of the coffee table book on the screen, please. And there it is. It's called the Most Trusted Brands of India 2021. That's right. Ladies and gentlemen, absolutely crisp, absolutely simple, straight to the point, Most Trusted Brands of India. That's what we're calling it for the coffee table book over here. And with that, let's actually get started with the felicitations. I'm going to request you to please come center stage. And I've been told that some of the brands have flights to catch first, so we'll go forward with the announcement of these 3 names, and after that, everything will be in alphabetical order. And just a small request, I know it's important to wear masks, but when you come on the stage, photo op will happen, so you can probably just slide that mask a little, smile, and then get back to the safety. Okay, great. Here we go. First up, ladies and gentlemen, let's begin with the felicitation for the pioneering name, that is Mahindra Automotive. Leading from the front, yes indeed, especially when we talk about automobiles, the one name that is synonymous to growth, it is Mahindra Automotive. Congratulations to the team of Mahindra Automotive. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, let's march ahead and move forward to the felicitation of the next brand, Bridge Lab Solutions Private Limited. Bridge Labs, India's first and only live experiential lab that focuses on solving tech employability. It promises 100% job guarantee to the fresh engineers and the day one job ready engineers to the tech industry, and I think that's absolutely amazing. Congratulations to the team. Let's now move on to the next brand, ladies and gentlemen, and let's keep the applause roaring for Oswal Books and Learning Private Limited. Oswal Books is making learning simple for the last 35 years and #1 choice of 8 million students in the last 10 years, trusted by 3 lakh teachers, 50,000 schools and 13 million parents. I think numbers don't lie. That's amazing indeed. Congratulations to the team. I think it's the field of education that actually got disrupted the most in the year 2020. So it's amazing to see how Oswal has, sort of lived up to the reputation of continuing to be a pioneering name. So congratulations. Now, before we move forward, I'm going to be requesting Vivek and Rajesh to take your seats. We're going to have the video felicitations, and then I'm going to bring you back again to do the physical felicitations. All right, ladies and gentlemen, with that, while the videos will be played, let's also have the energetic applause, and let's move on to felicitate the next brand, which is 247.ai. Let's have the video on the screen, please.
Hello, everyone. I'm delighted that 247.ai has been recognized as one of the most trusted brands of India in 2021. Our focus has always been on providing a personalized, predictive, and effortless customer experience for organizations that we engage with across the globe. The past year has been a revelation and has taught us more than ever before that change is the only constant in our lives. It has also strengthened our belief that it is our people and the values of respect, teamwork, ownership, results, and transparency that we live by, that have helped us not just to tide over the uncertainties, but emerge successful and triumphant. The unrelenting commitment to our goals and the never say die attitude of our people have only enhanced the trust our clients have in us. And we have grown in strength with most all of them through a difficult year. This recognition is dedicated to every single 24/7.ai teammate across the globe. We would also like to congratulate the other brands who have also received this recognition. Whilst we couldn't be there personally, we wish the team and the event great success. Thank you. Stay safe, stay healthy.
Thank you very much for that beautiful message and congratulations to the team. Let's quickly move forward to announcing the next brand to be felicitated, ACO Insurance.
Namaskar and good evening. My name is Ashish Mishra and I head marketing for ACO General Insurance. We at ACO are super excited and delighted that we've been voted as one of the most trusted brands of India in 2021. We would like to thank Julie and the panel for bestowing this award for us. At this point in time, I'd also like to thank other brands who participated in this. Sorry, unfortunately we couldn't be there, but hopefully we'll see you all next year. Thank you.
Congratulations to the team of ACO Insurance. Let's now move on to felicitating the next brand, American Express.
Hello everyone. I'm delighted that American Express has been recognized as one of the most trusted brands of India 2021. I thank the organizers for conferring this recognition on us and take this opportunity to share the award with our 15,000 plus colleagues, each of whom delivers a brand promise of powerful backing through every interaction they have. While I could not attend today's event personally, I wish the team great success. Thank you very much.
And with that, let's also move forward to the next brand, Bridgestone India Private Limited.
Hello everyone. I'm delighted that Bridgestone has been recognized as one of the most trusted brands 2021 for excellence in sustainable mobility solutions. We would like to thank Team Marksmen and media partners CNBC, TV18 for bestowing this honor upon us. We would also like to congratulate all the winners at this event. While we couldn't be there at the event physically, we wish the event and the organizers and the team a great success.
All right, so congratulations to the team. And I must thank you all for actually applauding, because that sound is way better than the fanfare wala sound. So let's keep that applause going for our next brand, Capital Numbers.
Hello everyone, my name is Mukul Gupta and I am the founder and CEO of Capital Numbers. It is such a great honor to be awarded one of the most trusted brands of India for 2020. We are sincerely grateful to the consortium for this nomination. While we couldn't be there personally, but on behalf of everyone at Capital Numbers, I want to convey our most profound appreciation for this, and we are flattered to be a part of it. We also would like to congratulate all the other winners who have won the award. Thank you so much and have a great day.
Congratulations to Capital Numbers. Well, up next, let's smile wide for the next brand because it's Colgate-Palmolive India Limited.
We are delighted that Colgate-Palmolive has been chosen as one of the most trusted brands for 2021. We want to thank this consortium for giving us this honor, and we promise that we will continue to passionately work towards a healthier future for our people and for our planet. And we want to congratulate all the other brands who have won this prestigious title. And while we couldn't personally be present, we wish the organizers of the event all the success. Thank you very much.
And looks like those smiles have charged us up because the next brand to be felicitated is Crompton Greaves Consumer Electricals Limited. Let's have a round of applause as well.
Hello everyone. I'm delighted that Crompton has been recognized as one of the most trusted brands of India 2021. We would like to thank the consortium for bestowing this honor upon us. We would also like to congratulate all the other brands who have also received this recognition. Whilst we couldn't be there personally at the event, we would like to wish the team and the event great success. Thank you.
Congratulations to Mr. Matthew and the entire team. Moving forward, our next brand to be felicitated is in fact the team that provides innovative customer engagement software for businesses of all sizes. Ladies and gentlemen, the next brand is Freshworks.
Thank you for recognizing Freshworks CRM as one of the most trusted brands of India. It is truly an honor. With Freshworks CRM, our aim is to break the silos between sales and marketing teams and equip them with a 360-degree view of the customer. The customer 360-degree vision is something that's been spoken about for many years now, but very few companies have succeeded in bringing that vision to life through a unified product experience. Freshworks CRM is our attempt at Freshworks to move the industry one step forward towards realizing this vision. We're extremely proud that Freshworks CRM is today leading the market when it comes to leveraging the power of AI to combine sales and marketing automation capabilities into a single platform. This not only fosters better collaboration and understanding between sales and marketing teams, but also helps them understand their customers better. This recognition reinforces the fact that we are heading in the right direction.
Congratulations to the team. All right, with that, let's move forward and find out the next most trusted brand. Let's hear it for ICICI Prudential Asset Management.
Hello, everybody. We are delighted that ICICI Prudential Mutual Fund has been recognized as the most trusted brands for 2021. On behalf of each and every one at Team ICICI Prudential Mutual Fund, we would like to thank the consortium for this great honor bestowed upon us. Thank you very much. We would also like to take this opportunity to congratulate other brands who have won this title. Although we could not be present there for the event, we would like to wish the team and the event a great success. Thank you very much.
All right, and on that note of good wishes, let's move forward to the next brand, which is Metro Cash and Carry India.
Hi, I'm Arvind Bedirata, CEO and Managing Director for Metro Cash and Carry India. I would like to thank for bestowing the honor of one of the most trusted brands of India in 2021 to Metro. It's a great pleasure and honor to receive this award on behalf of the entire Metro team. This award is a vindication of our strategy and our purpose of being the champion for small independent businesses across the world. In India, as you all know, we are focused on making small kirana store owners, the small restaurant owners, small business owners more successful. We in fact tell our team that they don't work for Metro, but they work for the success of thousands of our customers around the country.
Okay, while that stopped abruptly, let me also inform you that the next brand that we're about to felicitate is not just one of the most trusted, but also most refreshing. Let's hear it for Pepsi.
I want to thank Team Marksmen, partner CNBC TV 18, and the jury for choosing Pepsi as one of the most trusted brands. Trust is not built in a day or a year. It is built over decades. So this award is on behalf of everyone who's worked on Pepsi in the past. And of course, our current swag star team. A big thank you to you all. Consumers are moving more and more towards brands they can trust. And we see this trend accelerating as India will add 500 million more consumers to its middle class over the next decade. We know having consumers' trust is a privilege, and at PepsiCo, we strive to earn it every day. Through our consumer-centric, sustainable growth model, we believe our brands can play an even larger role in the lives of our consumers. So keep watching this space, and many thanks once again for choosing Pepsi as one of the most trusted brands.
Congratulations to the team of Pepsi. In fact, I do believe that we all realize that the future is phygital or hybrid, and I think we are experiencing that example right over here, a mix of virtual, a mix of real over here. So it's going to be interesting. We have just a few more brands to go with the videos, and let's also go ahead and applaud them. Let's hear it for RMZ Corp.
CNBC
family restrictions, we are unable to. Congratulations to all the other winners. Have a lovely, look forward to a wonderful 2021.
RMZ Corporators, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure it was not as audible as it was supposed to be, but I'm sure he would have definitely thanked his team because teamwork makes the dream work. Well, on that note, let's also move forward to the next brand we're talking about, Vivify's Flex Pay. That's the next brand to be felicitated.
Hello everyone. I'm delighted that Vivify's FlexPay is being recognized as one of the most trusted brands of India 2021. I would like to thank Team Marksmen and their media partner CNBC TV 18 for bestowing this honor upon us. This award is a recognition of the work we are doing in expanding access to credit to millions of underserved and unserved Indians. It is also a reflection of the acceptance of brand FlexPay in offering a true digital credit card-like experience to millions of low-income Indians. I would like to congratulate all the other brands that are getting recognized today evening. Shout out to the organizers for pulling this off in these tough times. Thank you.
And ladies and gentlemen, the next brand, let's hear it for Sundaram Mutual Fund.
Hi, this is Sunil Subramaniam, Managing Director of Sundaram Mutual. At the outset, I would like to thank Team Marksmen and the consortium. This is a recognition of Sundaram Mutual's 25-year existence as one of the most strong retail franchises in the country, born out of its parent Sundaram Finance, a leading NBFC over the last 6 decades in the southern parts of India. Most recently, Sundaram Mutual has been able to make strides in the digital world. When the pandemic arose, we launched a blue chip NFO, strongly backed by our digital coverage, which enabled us to make it one of the most successful new fund offerings, with more than 60% applications coming through digital. Our Digi Retail journey has been announced by the launch of the Wisecast webinars, the investor education series through e.m.I, Economy, Markets and Investments, as well as Dhan Ki Baat. All of these has combined to get us more than 200,000 new customers this year. And as we embark on this Digi Retail journey, this recognition as one of the most trusted brands is definitely a strong push-up to our efforts to become a pan-India strong brand in the years to come. Thank you once again.
Congratulations to the entire team of Sundaram Mutual Fund. Ladies and gentlemen, with that, we will now again resume with the physical felicitations, for which may I humbly invite once again Mr. Vivek Oberoi to please come on stage and Mr. Rajesh Khupchandani. And let's have another round of applause because we are back to the physical avatar again. That means more energy and more smiles. All right, so with that, let's resume with the next set of felicitations and let's hear it for Astral Pipes. यार जोरदार तालियां हो जाए यार. Let's hear it for Astral Pipes. One of the leading manufacturer of plastic piping systems. They provide solutions for plumbing, drainage, agriculture, industrial, infrastructure, fire protection and cable protection as well. Safety being an utmost quality, Astral Pipes. Congratulations. Let's now move on to the next felicitation. Let there be absolute purity in the round of applause because it's time to hear it for AquaGuard. India's leading water purifier brand since 38 years. And it's true when they say that water purifiers have only one name, which is AquaGuard. बातों बातों में फोटो भी हो जाए. Very important. Our photographers are right on there. Superb. All right, let's now move on to the next round of felicitation. And the next brand to be felicitated is a global materials science company specializing in the design and manufacture of wide variety of labeling and functional materials. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for Avery Dennison Corporation. Congratulations. And on that note, let's keep the tempo on and let's move forward to felicitating the next brand, Bharat Aluminium Company. Yeah, we're talking about aluminium. The applause also got to be as strong as aluminium. Can we have a strong round of applause, everyone? Come on. Moving on to the next brand to be felicitated as the most trusted brands of India, and it comes without a shadow of doubt when I say Bisleri International Private Limited. All right, so with that, let's move forward, even as our guests also move forward on the stage. It's all about the lighting. Yes. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's also announce our next brand to be felicitated this evening, Cash Free Payments India Private Limited. CashFree is a payments and banking technology platform that helps businesses collect and send money around the clock. Processing transactions worth $2 billion monthly, they enable digital payments for more than 55,000 Indian and global companies. Well, moving on, the next brand to be felicitated, in fact, is a pioneer, a leader, and an iconic brand, India's #1 houseware brand, Cello. And with that, let's march forward towards the next brand. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for Cytiva GE Healthcare. A global provider of technologies and services that advance and accelerate the development of therapeutics. In fact, they support customers at every stage of biomanufacturing, from clinical trials to commercial manufacture as well. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, the next name, the next brand to be felicitated is a brand that truly, truly stands for innovation. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for Dell Technologies. Anand has it. So on that note, we'll move on as Mr. Anand hasn't come yet. So let's move on, in fact, towards our next round of felicitation. And our next brand to be felicitated is DHL Express India Private Limited. All right. And with that, let's move on to the next brand, which is Eclat Superior. It's going to be a long march for both of them. Can be accompanied with a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Well, I had it written differently in my script. Apparently, it's Eclat. Eclat Superior it is. So congratulations to Eclat Superior. And with that, let's move forward towards our next brand when we're talking about the most trusted brands of India. And let's hear it for UFIS Learning, Proficiency Learning Solutions Private Limited. In fact, they are one of the largest outreach platform for schools. So with an ecosystem of 13,000 schools, driving partnerships with more than 5,000 schools covering 4 million students. Amazing. Our next brand to be felicitated this evening is someone that comes with a vision of pain-free India and the world. In fact, they have been providing consumers affordable support products for the last 3 decades. Ladies and gentlemen, can we have a huge round of applause for Flamingo? All right, time to widen the smiles and let's also move forward towards the next brand to be felicitated. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to announce the next brand that believes in the mantra, making the customer win by integrating disruptive technologies. Let's hear it for IDBI in Tech. Well, our next brand for the evening to be felicitated. In fact, when we talk about their growth journey, it's something that we all marvel upon. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for IDFC First Bank. And it's also time to have a powerful round of applause for the next brand, because we're talking about JP Power. Okay, they're not here. That's all right. We can always continue that applause for the next brand. Well, the next brand, in fact, ladies and gentlemen, I think this is also one of our favorites. We're talking about Kalki Fashion. Can we have a fashionable, a stylish round of applause? Woo! I know that so many of us present here, we've all shopped, we've all loved your brand. Congratulations. You know, born in Mumbai in 2007, Kalki in fact evokes the very spirit of the city that it was founded in, and it's an upstart, innovative and dynamic brand. So yes, Kalki it is. We love the name, we love the brand. Mighty congratulations to the entire team. Well, moving on to the next brand, it's something you got to promise me when it comes to the applause. It's got to be sweet, but it's got to be healthy as well. Because the next brand to be felicitated is Patanjali Honey. We'll add that madhur mithas in our applause and our smiles as well. Congratulations to the team of Patanjali. Well, moving on to the next brand, most trusted brands of India. And let's hear it, ladies and gentlemen, for PNB Housing Finance. I believe not just the government, but the people also have always pushed that dream of owning a home. And PNB Housing Finance has truly, truly innovated the path for many home owners. And that's absolutely commendable. All right, time for the next brand to be felicitated this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together for Rennie Cosmetics. Rennie Cosmetics it is, ladies and gentlemen. And there's got to be no filter at all in the way we applaud, in the way we smile. Mighty congratulations to the entire team. Rennie Cosmetics it is. You know, we have the lovely Ashka Goradia with us. Congratulations. It's amazing how you've worn different hats. Mighty congratulations to you and the team. Can we have a huge round of applause for the power woman that Ashka Goradia herself is? Beautiful indeed. All right. On that note, let's also move forward, take those smiles forward, and let's hear it for Shivami Cloud Services Private Limited. Shivami, in fact, is a Google Cloud Premier partner specializing in G Suite services in India. And it's amazing for the kind of solutions, the business email solutions that they're providing to people across. So congratulations indeed. We'll also move on to, this has got to have a damdar round of applause. Ladies and gentlemen, the next brand we're talking about is Sonalika Tractors. Do we have a representative or a team member? Not here, all right. Well, on that note then, let's move forward to announcing our next brand when we're talking about most trusted brands of India. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for Sugar Cosmetics. You know, when I look back, especially in the last 1 year, if we talk about the brands that managed to pivot in such a fast and a successful manner, it's got to be Sugar Cosmetics. And the way the team, in fact, managed, when we look at the story, how they began and to where they are, I think it comes from the fabulous team that they are. So huge congratulations to Sugar Cosmetics. You know, team, I must congratulate you because one thing that Sugar Cosmetics truly stands for is empowerment. And I think the way you guys are doing, the way the team is succeeding, amazing. So congratulations to you. All right. I think this evening is just getting inspiring, and let's move forward to our next brand wherein we felicitate Translumina Therapeutics. Translumina Therapeutics, ladies and gentlemen, our next brand to be felicitated this evening under the most trusted brands of India. You know, whenever the fanfare goes down, the applause goes high. We love that kind of equation, right? So let's keep that going one more time. In fact, the company also produces and markets cardiac stents as well as cardiovascular devices. So I think, absolutely, sir. I think, you know, we're talking about the healthcare space, ladies and gentlemen, and that deserves a special round of applause for the way you all stepped up. Thank you so much for doing what you do. Thank you so much. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, our next brand to be felicitated this evening is Utkarsh Small Finance Bank Limited. We're talking about Small Finance Bank, but the applause will be big. Zordar taaliyan ho jaye. Come on, ladies and gentlemen. I know we are almost inching closer towards the end, but let's keep that energy on. And I think a special mention has to go to Utkarsh Small Finance Bank Limited, because when we're talking about empowering the micro entrepreneurs, we talk about the India side and the Bharat side, but when we're talking about micro entrepreneurs, it's teams and brands like Utkarsh Small Finance Bank Limited that are empowering them, that are allowing them to also follow their passion and their dream. So congratulations to the entire team. Well, up next, the brand to be felicitated. Ooh, we're talking lifestyle over here. We're talking about Villian Lifestyle. Can we have a nice, classy round of applause over there? This is like a rewind button. Wow, a double whammy this evening. Willin. They believe in winning, so it's will in. All right, so Willin Lifestyle it is. And the next brand to be felicitated is on its path of diversification, having undertaken as a result of deep conviction and drive to develop products that contribute to making the world more sustainable. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for Vishaka Industries. Congratulations to the team. And very quickly marching forward towards our next brand. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for WeTrans India Limited. And we have with us Mr. Mahendra Shah, who's a managing director of WeTrans. If I may please invite him and his team to please come on stage. He's also known as India's highly respected techno-savvy leader in logistics, providing single-window solutions. And it's been over 60 years of experience in delivering consistent service excellence to the customers. So kudos to WeTrans India Limited. All right, moving on to the next brand, ladies and gentlemen. Now, if you weren't probably paying attention to me, that's because you were probably busy WhatsApping somebody about the fact that this event is so amazing, right? Because, ladies and gentlemen, the next brand to be felicitated is WhatsApp. We have with us Vidisha Chatterjee, who's the Communications Director, India with WhatsApp, to receive this honor on behalf of the team. Come on, yeah, this needs a really loud round of applause. I mean, hello. The conversations that kept us going, that got us all closer to our family, to people, to brands. Our next brand to be felicitated this evening, yes, ladies and gentlemen, in the essential services segment, and one brand that has truly, truly made us happy over the years. When we're talking about farm to fork, the one name, the one trusted name that comes to our mind is Zorabia Foods. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for Zorabian Foods. And we once again have the amazing Perizad Zorabian along with her beautiful team here. Congratulations to you once again. And with that, we come to the final name to be felicitated, because this name is more than being an entrepreneur, being, of course, the actor that he is, but most importantly, someone who's managed to merge the humane side of life along with his exceptional talent. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we have none other than Vivek Oberoi. So we're going to take a minute to also go ahead and felicitate you. And can we have a huge, huge round of applause? And we're not going to let you go away just like that.
Maybe we should do a Zoom call. Good evening, everyone. Normally, हिंदुस्तान में हम पूछते हैं कैसे हैं आप? आजकल सवाल बदल गया है. It's become Corona negative हैं आप? Everywhere you travel, you're carrying around these test reports. And in an atmosphere of constant suspicion and insecurity, it's wonderful to be at a physical awards ceremony, and more so one that underlines the trust that all of you in your own domains have built over so many years, some young, some old. So I just want to congratulate every single brand that's won tonight. I think you guys deserve every bit of this celebration of trust that your consumers have put into you. I'd like to congratulate Rajesh. I think he deserves a big, big hand. This is his debut year, right, for Team Marksmen. And I must say, and I hope you agree with me, that Team Marksmen has hit the bullseye on debut. Woo! Well done. And before I leave, I must congratulate Kavya. Always, Kavya, with the energy that you conduct these events. You host so well, and I think you could have an alternative career as either a physical trainer or a motivational speaker, because you got all these people out of their, thumbing habits into clapping habits continuously. So well done. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. It really means a lot coming from you.
So wish all of you a very bright future, and I hope that you continue to enjoy this trust that you've taken so much effort to build with your consumers. All the best. Jai Hind.
Thank you Vivek, for joining us. In fact, from tomorrow onwards, my reels will begin on all the motivational videos. That's a promise. But thank you again. And ladies and gentlemen, what an evening it's turned out to be. I do believe that generally we could invite everyone to come for a group photograph, but we're trying to adhere to the safety norms, which is why I'm just going to request you all to let's have one final round of applause for each one of you who has gathered here, for all the brands, celebrating all of you together. And I'm going to wish you all a happy weekend and a happy Holi. Stay safe, stay healthy. This is Kavya signing off. Thank you so much again.